I left my heart in a hotel room, but when I try to explain, I got no excuse. I would've changed my ways if back then I knew that I'd be lying all alone, 'cause I was lying to you. You put on quite a show, let everybody know that you're here alone tonight. You should go back to mine, and let's pretend that we're still young. Should've spent more time on you, instead of messing around up in my hotel room. But now I'm lying all alone, 'cause I was lying to you. You put on quite a show, let everybody know that you're here alone tonight. You should come back to mine, and let's pretend that we're still young. I'm so sin. Hey, hey, baby, you can give it up to me. The plane, baby, stop teasing. Cause your body's so tempting. Hey, you don't know you're a blessing. Hey, I'm the guy up to saucy. Hey, baby, come give it to me. Hey, cause the sauce be drippy, drippy. Yeah. Too drippy, drippy. Yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you. We too litty, litty. Yeah. Too litty, litty. Yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you. Your body's driving me crazy. Be mine, come be my lady. Be mine, come be my lady. I'm way too saucy that damn man. Let me put this sauce on you. Show you what a man can do. Baby, you know what to do. Cause the sauce be drippy, drippy. Yeah. Too drippy, drippy. Yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you. We too litty, litty. Yeah. Too litty, litty. Yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you. Cause the sauce be drippity, drip, drip, drippity, drip, drippity, drip, drip, drippity, drip, drippity, drip, drip, drippity, drip, 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 drippity, 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 drip. Cause the sauce be drippy, drippy, yeah. Too drippy, drippy, yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you. We too litty, litty, yeah. Too litty, litty, yeah. I'm saucing, I'm saucing, I'm saucing on you.
to myself, could you take this? She said I want a challenge, so I'm willing to face it. Yeah, you got that symmetry. You touch me heavily, got hit so instantly. You make me high. Want you, you got me. Just take it from me. It's real. You make me sad. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes. Give it to you right, there's no complaining. Have you climbing up these walls like you need saving? No, I don't care about your past and if it's tainted. She said I want a challenge, so I'm willing to face it. Girl, you got that symmetry. You touch me heavily, got hit so instantly. You make me high. Want you, you got me. Just take it from me. It's real. You make me sad. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes. You like it like that. Pleasure is pain, yeah, you're wanting to tap. Tell by your eyes, girl, there's no need to ask. You're so connected, don't wanna detach. You get me high, I don't wanna come down, and I mean it. Girl, you're the realest, want me to win it tonight is our secret, hoping you keep it. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes. You got that something in your eyes, something in your eyes.
Rise up, yeah. Rise up, nothing can hold us down. Rise up, yeah. Rise up, nothing can hold us down. It's time to take a stance. Rise up, take back, take charge. No more confusion from displacement blinkers on. Your generation X, your generation Y. Let's stick together, make a change. We can take back the sky. Demand change from the powers, cause it's necessary. Smoke and mirrors can't divide us, had enough already. Rabbit holes, damn it flows, this ain't no Canterbury. Tales of the youth and how we won't let them just take us down. Nothing can hold us. Nothing can stop us. Nothing can stop us. Rise up, yeah. Rise up, nothing can hold us down. Rise up,
about you lately. I'm thinking that we should. I won't say nothing, baby. Nah, where you been, girl? I swear you looking hotter. You know I could always do you better. Switching positions whenever fed up. Let me show you. You look so good, let me see you work it. Proposition on the side, you deserve it. No competition, girl, you 5-star service. Think we could meet up after you finish working. I'm your ape shackle. I can feel your vibes throwing around me like a rafter. Coming so strong, you love it when I go faster. I'm loving your interior, no I wouldn't change it. Body is superior, other ones are basic. Thought you was inferior, you're wrong, you're amazing. Hey, nah, where you been, girl? I swear you looking hotter. You know I could always do you better. Switching positions whenever fed up. Let me show you. You look so good, let me see you work it. Proposition on the side, you deserve it. No competition, girl, you 5-star service. Think we can meet up after you finish working. You got that 5-star service. You got that 5-star service. You look so good, let me see you work it. Proposition on the side, you deserve it. No competition, girl, you 5-star service. Think we can meet up after you finish working. You got that 5-star service. You got that 5-star service.
What we've all become. Tell me when you're gonna learn. Tell me when you're gonna learn. You're the one that beats the drum, the drum. You're the barrel of the gun, the gun. Tell me when you're gonna learn. Tell me when you're gonna learn. What you gonna do now, What you gonna say now, Walking on the world now, We can start again now, Tell me when you're gonna
Every move I make, every step I take, put your arms around me, let your light shine on me. When I'm in my darkest zone, when I'm in my darkest zone, you wrap your arms around me, you shine your light on.
When the time for bring me down, now you dey ace me up. You keep me focused on the target, you dey give me the punch. You know me eyes, now the dark shine for me like a touch. Light, but it isn't cold and dark, you dey give me the sun. Light, now you know must be for give me the thing, right? And I want to tell you thank you for the love, the light, the ride, the hype, the tide, the fight. Now I dey with you, I dey feel so alive.
Every move I make, every step I take, put your arms around me, let your light shine on me. When I'm in my darkest zone, when I'm in my darkest zone, you wrap your arms around me, you shine your light on me. Your light on me, your light on me,
Sit. School love no get yakba. Think the flow really sweet like a water. Hold tight, we together. Tiggy tiggy one, take me a water, keep me warm. You in a matan. The one where they pick me up, put it like they really man a man. You dey keep me back on track, waiting no go like our plan. You the butter me brain, I keep us sweet with time and jam. You the only one, me number one, say you not the one.
every move I make, every step I take, put your arms around me, let your light shine on me. When I'm in my darkest zone, when I'm in my darkest zone, you wrap your arms around me, you shine your light on me. Your light on me, your light on me, Girl, me know I say we compatible. Give you anything, girl, for make you comfortable. Girl, me know I say we compatible. Give you anything, girl, for make me comfortable. You are see when I am down. You are need when I am down. Girl, you take me higher. Girl, you set me on fire. Whoa. Every move I make, every step I take, put your arms around me, let your light shine on me. When I'm in my darkest zone, when I'm in my darkest zone, you wrap your arms around me, you shine your light on me. You shine your light, baby. You simplify, baby. You're the reason, every move and every step I take.
Mr. DJ, play me. Have a few drinks, let's get wavy. I'll be out on a good night, sipping Grey Goose from my left hand, things get crazy. Mr. DJ, play me. Have a few drinks, let's get wavy. I'll be out on a good night, sipping Grey Goose from my left hand, things get crazy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Till things get crazy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Till things get crazy. Mr. DJ, play me. Have a few drinks, let's get wavy. I'll be out on a good night, sipping Grey Goose from my left hand, things get crazy. Mr. DJ, play me. Have a few drinks, let's get wavy. I'll be out on a good night, sipping Grey Goose from my left hand, things get crazy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Till things get crazy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Let's get wavy. Till things get crazy.
I'm kinda like complicated. I never know what I'm chasing, no. I don't need someone to save me, but you appear like a lightning bolt. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. There's magic in your rhythm, like a shockwave to my system. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. 'Cause every time I'm with you, you're my one and only elixir. Like a magnetic attraction, a supernatural vertigo. It's a chemical reaction, something I never imagined, no. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. There's magic in your rhythm, like a shockwave to my system. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. 'Cause every time I'm with you, you're my one and only elixir. You're the one that lights me up, ah. You're the one that lights me up, ah. You're the one that lights me up, ah. You're the one that lights me up. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. There's magic in your rhythm, like a shockwave to my system. Maybe you're a wizard, 'cause you're busy. 'Cause every time I'm with you, you're my one and only elixir.
From we enter inside, I come through and lift up the vibe. That's just what we bring, we get like. Gonna get this party started alright all night. Got the rhythm on deck, I don't need to tell you what's next. Just jump to the rhythm and show me two-step. Jump to the rhythm and show me two-step. Got my cup full, I'm fine. Head to toe in that drip, I'm wavy. Couple man I ain't seen from time. Couple girl I might move to wine. Like Amos, if it's no crime, would you let this one dance be mine? But even if the stars don't align, ain't no way I'm gonna lose my shine. It's pure vibes on the floor. You got drinks? Brought some more. Got my brethren, all about. We ain't rich, we ain't poor. We're just flexing on the ends. I might text a couple more friends and get loose. It's the vibe when the man I run up inside. From we enter inside, I come through and lift up the vibe. That's just what we bring, we get like. Gonna get this party started alright, all night. Got the rhythm on deck, I don't need to tell you what's next. Just jump to the rhythm and show me two-step. Jump to the rhythm and show me two-step.
Kamikaze flying off the top. I done posted, I just live a lot. Yeah. Look at my watch in the rotation. Pass the smoke in the rotation. Ooh, that's so awesome. Get up above me if you're not bossy. Ooh, not too frosty. It's appalling the way I boss it. Yeah. Watch me do this without no hands. I'ma do this without no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands. Yeah, no it, no hands. Yeah, no it, no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands. Made it look easy, ooh. Got a new freeze on my wrist, ooh. Rella, you know I won't stop for you. I don't need permission to do what I do. Ooh, that's so awesome. Get up above me if you're not bossy. Ooh, not too frosty. It's appalling the way I boss it. Yeah. Watch me do this without no hands. I'ma do this without no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands. Yeah, no hands. Yeah, no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands.
Made it look easy, too easy. No pressure, no effort, believe. Undefeated, that's our key. Say you wanna smoke, but now you weak.
Ooh,
I'm a top dog, like Lamar. Get you put in park,
ooh,
dripping in sauce. Green like boss, I'm gon' win regardless.
watch me do this without no hands. I'ma do this without no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands. Yeah, no hands. Yeah, no hands. Flexing on them, do my money dance. Watch me do this without no hands.
on my level. I be on my level. I be on my level. Okay, look, I've been on a mission to the top, and when I get there, it's gonna go down. Lapping the competition, why they telling us to slow down? Come for it all, no, that ain't enough just to go round. Waking up the sleepers, if you ain't know, well, man, you know now, yeah. I'm not your average guy, we set that bar too high. There's more than monetary differences between you and I. Hey, this the squad that you don't wanna meddle with. You know we take it higher, we ain't never settling. Come on, hold up, cause I'm going in. You know what it is. I be on my level, I be on my level. Can't touch me now, I be on my level. Pull up, all I do is win. You know what it is. I be on my level, I be on my level. Can't touch me now, I be on my level. Hey, we be about to go off. These these boys ain't got no sauce. On the winning streak, I promise we ain't taking no loss. We ain't got nothing in common, you and I. Money keep falling like stars out the sky. Take it easy, hey, they don't believe me. We on another wave, like we ain't hearing what he say. Yeah, they talking trash, you can put it in the garbage. When they know you rap the hardest, you gon' always be a target. Yeah, I put that on my mama. We ain't down for the drama. Keep on adding the commas, the numbers is getting longer. Yeah, I told you, homie, we ain't nothing to meddle with. We just broke the knob, going to another level, yeah. Okay, hold up, cause I'm going in. You know what it is. I be on my level, I be on my level. Can't touch me now, I be on my level. Pull up, all I do is win. You know what it is. I be on my level, I be on my level. Can't touch me now, I be on my level. 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 Hold up, cause I'm going in. You know what it is. I be on my level. I be on my level. Can't touch me now. I be on my level. Pull up. All I do is win. You know what it is. I be on my level. I be on my level. Can't touch me now. I be on my level.
It's like most of the time you play on my mind. Am I enough? Am I enough? Are you in or out? Just tell me right now. Am I enough? Ooh, am I enough? And now I'm waiting for you to make your move, but I don't know if I can wait. It's like I'm on the emotion all alone. I don't know how much more I can take.
crowd will never go down. I want the party never wins up. I know the house of faith, like veterans know the play. What should I care for? Why do I think up? I decide my sword. What am I starting at? Why do I feel like the one who rise? In bouncing her and fever blood, where I should chase the legend. Don't go back anywhere or any place. Let the silence make it louder. We are the giants now above. Choosing the way was our song. I'm always there as my office ways. Carrying my word to the end. Shouting to the future and ready down. How we wanna just bring it back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LPL. We have finally begun Week 10, the last week of the Spring Split 2021. My name is Muchballs, and I'm joined by Clement today, which is a sentence I've not said in a little while. How are you doing, Clement?
It's been a long while, buddy. I definitely miss casting with you, and today I'm going to do an emergency fill-in for Jordan Corby, aka Lyric. We hope he gets better soon, but for now, I am here to take you through week number 10, our final and last week.
Yeah, we're kicking off with a big day today as well. But before we jump into what's happening today, because there is plenty to talk about there, let's first look at what happened yesterday and our results, because we had some pretty crazy games yesterday. The JDG LGD series, that 2-0 doesn't really properly represent what happened there. It's kind of the same with the Suning LNG 2-0 as well.
You don't try to pet a caged animal. And LGD nearly won game 2. It was really crazy. There was an 8,000 gold swing within 5 minutes, and JD Gaming still won off of a base race. So if you guys like crazy games, definitely check out that series. In the second series, it might be a surprise to you guys, but Suning actually only clinched their playoff seeding in that series versus LNG off the back of a great Hwanfeng performance. 9 kills on the Jinx.
Yeah, it feels good to see Hwanfeng firing on all cylinders. Again, had a really, really great series for himself yesterday. The team fighting from Suning looked amazing. But here in the standings, you can see 8 of our teams locked for playoffs. There are 4 teams remaining that are still a little up in the air. IG, LNG, BLG, and Victory 5. Those are the 4 teams that don't have their fates sealed just yet.
Yep, we have 4 teams vying for 2 positions, and we will figure out pretty soon. Most of the teams, not most of the teams, all of the teams only play 16 games. We are a only one round robin, so you can kind of figure out who still has a couple games left. But we're really looking at BLG and V5 to hopefully make some sort of a challenge. 8 series win seems to be the magic number right now.
And guess who's playing today? It's going to be V5 in our second series of the day. They've got to win that one to keep their playoff dream alive. But first, we'll be jumping into RA versus RNG. And this is a very important series for playoffs, but for different reasons here. Both of these teams already guaranteed playoffs. But we can go into the discussion of seeding in a couple of minutes' time, because there's plenty to that conversation. But we just looked at the standings. You can see how close the top of the table is. There is plenty of space to move up and down that table. But before we jump into the in-depth parts of that matchup and of the seeding, I believe we can look at some of our stuff from week number 9. So we can take a look first at our rookies of the week. Our top 5, starting off with Eric from OMG. I wasn't expecting this guy to be top of the table, but when you look at his stats, 32% of the team's damage ain't too shabby as an average.
Yeah, I think Eric was a standout performer. We do have to caveat this. OMG only played 1 series last week, and it was against LGD, so not really exactly the toughest of opponents, but he was a much better performer compared to Kramer, and it was a bit of a interesting game where we saw this player who's actually been around the league for a little bit in terms of like the in the LDL, show up huge and actually outperform his counterparts. We saw a lot of great performance from a hyper carry perspective. And moving on onto the first team, JD Gaming was 4-0 in week 9, and they by far have the strongest top side of the LPL right now. Kanavi and Yagao plus Zoom linking up has been massive. They have been going for straight last pick on Zoom and just letting him crush lane.
And one of the hilarious things as well is one of the teams that they've looked really great playing up against was RNG, who are the two other players in the top 2 in Ming and Gala, who, it has to be said, have been looking exceptional on the bottom side of the map. And I think JDG have managed to actually put themselves in the conversation of one of the teams that's going to be able to be a top 4, maybe even higher than that in playoffs, which when you think earlier in the split, that's just such a crazy statement to make. I'm so happy that they've been able to pull themselves together, and your main man in the mid lane especially has been having some stellar performances.
This is JDG's bread and butter. Whenever they have Yagao on his main champions, he always performs on a completely other level. 4-0 on the week, as we mentioned. 3 games going for the Zoe. Even though Zoe doesn't have a very good win rate in the LPL, we actually have saw massive drop-offs on this champion, but he's still able to pick it up, do a lot of damage, and I really think it's the early game coordination with Kanavi that has looked a lot sharper in the recent series that is allowing JDG to re-enter the conversation as one of our top teams. As they say themselves, they've always been slow starters in the split, but finally they are shaping up into their best form.
Yeah, and it feels good to see that evolution of the team. And Chashao as well, Suning's coach, joining them earlier on in this year. And feels good to see that all finally starting to mesh together. But we're not talking about JDG today. We're talking about R8, we're talking about RNG, because that's our first series that's going to be on the chopping block. So let's talk about seeding and implications here, because this is a very, very important series for both teams here. Obviously for RNG, they're in first place right now. If they just win all of their games, they stay in first place. They guarantee themselves first seed if they could just win everything. But for RA, right now in 6th place, it is technically possible for them to take away first place if they win 4 straight games in a row here and RNG loses all of their games. It's actually possible for RA to take first, which is insane.
That's the most important thing about this matchup. It has a lot of playoff implications because the sky is the ceiling for both teams. And I just want to reiterate this in a more easier way to understand. Basically, RNG have their fates in their own hands. If they win all of their games, then they are 100% first seed. No one can challenge them. On the other hand, if things go absolutely the opposite way, then Rare Atom could still find themselves in first seed position. And we have to talk about first seed and what that gives you. That means you get side selection throughout the entirety of playoffs. No one is going to be able to take that away with you, and that's why so many people vie for that spot.
And not to mention top 2 in general, you get all the way to semifinals. You get into the double elimination stage of playoffs, so it's incredibly valuable to be a top 2 team. But let's talk a little bit about RA before we jump into the actual ins and outs of the game and talk about the win streak that they were on, because I feel like we almost need to put it to rest. They were on a 9-win streak. As they were getting to double digits, as they're about to hit 10, they lose to LGD of all teams. It really was a heartbreak.
It's insane to think, but the longest win streak this split has come for Rare Atom, and we're going to go over how they have did this. The most important thing is their playstyle. They're actually a very slow team. They're not a very bloody team, but they're very successful at snowballing Lillian. Lillian has the best CS per minute as a jungler, and they also have the best jungle control in the entire LPL. So they were able to follow up and just snowball him, follow his lane with prio, and try to avoid unnecessary action. I think this is incredibly important to remember as their playstyle, as I think it has a lot of bearings on this RNG series as well, because Lillian and Wei are completely different. Lillian is going to go for Karthus, he's going to go for Kayn. He is that sort of guy that wants to play for his own CS, while Wei will be 100% willing to skip 2 camps and just gank for Xiaohu nonstop.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of 2 very different styles of jungler, and also 2 teams that revolve around how the jungler plays the game, right? When you think of RNG, it's usually playing towards that top side because that's where Wei loves to head up in the early game. But we've seen a couple of teams figure that out now. We've seen a couple of teams start to figure out how to take down RNG. And as we're alluding to, it is up towards that top side. Both JDG and BLG figured it out. Let's talk about how to beat RNG. The answer is a real strong top lane.
It seems like an obvious one, but there are some other points that we want to make here. Red side last pick for top lane is extremely important. This is what JD Gaming just went for all the time, and RNG themselves are a blue side focused team. They like to play a lot of flex. They will choose blue side if given the choice, and if you want to beat them, that's kind of your entryway. You have to have a strong top side top laner that gets a lot of jungle attention, and if you look at the GD at 15, both of these guys were able to crush Xiaohu in the laning phase. Zoom actually being up on average 6 kills through those 2 games, which was kind of crazy. And then you have Biu solo killing Xiaohu every single game versus the RNG series. This so far has seemed like the only weakness RNG has shown. If you can break the chain between Wei and Xiaohu and make sure that Xiaohu never gets past the laning phase, then you don't have to fight RNG in the team fighting phase, which is where they are the strongest.
Exactly. And I just love looking at those Zoom stats, especially there, where that's an average across 2 games. It's like 2,000. But looking at some of the mechanics here from Xiaohu, this is what happens when he can get into the game. Just absolutely take it out, Jackie Love, with the beautiful Gale Force. But also him and Wei, we talked about them partnering up. Here's a clip from the E-Star series where they literally just 2v3 in an even game.
Xiaohu is a great player, not just a great mid laner. He has the mechanics to bring a lot of different champions into different lanes, and he can just do outplay situations that a lot of players can only dream of. So far, they are 6-0 on the Lucian pick, 5 games of Xiaohu on that Lucian, and 1 game from Crying, also enabling the flex potential. And that's the scary thing about their team comp, is that they're willing to go for really strong carries in the top side, not your usual picks, and they're also willing to flex it, and they have the mechanics to back it up and just make that an actual carry. So I think the best way is still to just sever Wei and Xiaohu, make sure they never get past the laning phase, or you're gonna have a lot of trouble later on.
Yeah, my one concern with that plan, though, right, because we talk about that being the way that you can take on RNG, we also just set up the fact that RA don't like to be that proactive in the early game. When you look at them statistically, especially during their win streak, like, yes, their early stats are quite good in terms of gold differentials, XP differentials, but that's just out of, like, laning phase advantages. It's not really to do with Lien getting in the lanes. Lien's quite happy to get his own individual advantages through farm. So it feels like, on paper, the style that has beaten RNG is not the style that is standard for RA. So to see them coming in and trying to find a win here, we maybe need to see a bit of a shifting gears from RA, which is something we've not really seen much this split.
True. Honestly, I don't think this is a great matchup for Rare Adam. Once again, we saw the early game. It was playing for Lilian's farm. They don't really play for any lane in particular in the early game. They have very, very low kills across the board. And I think that does favor RNG. I think RNG are going to be allowed to scale up, and they're going to be allowed to go into the 5v5 phase. So really what I want to see is if RA can find some sort of a counter pick for their top laner Cube. He is typically more of a weak side player, but he has shown things like the Wukong that can go up against ranged champions, and maybe that's sort of the inroads for Rare Adam. We're going to be taking a look at the draft really quickly. For both of these teams, a number of very important picks are the Azir and the Lucian. The Azir has been Fofo's go-to champion. He has 8.1 KDA on it. It is sort of that Azir meta, and he proudly proclaims that as his best champion as well. On the other side for RNG, I think Lucian recently has been a huge problem for a lot of teams. It's a triple flex for teams that are willing to play at bot lane, and we have seen both Crying and Xiaohu being willing to pick that up. But that might happen a little bit later in the draft, as you know, the typical drafts is focusing more on that jungler, and I do expect the Hecarim or maybe the Tristana to come out here.
That would be the interesting question, right? Because we've talked about how Lien, not really the kind of jungler that typically goes towards things like the Hecarim, but it has been coming in. He's played a couple of games of the Hecarim. Obviously, the Olaf, the Udyr are exceptionally strong as well. But Tristana, Kai'Sa, both available, and it will be the Kai'Sa to start off for iBoy. And over to RNG, who can go for a jungler, maybe a priority support. They could even go for the AD carry themselves.
Yeah, this is fairly interesting to see coming out. Kai'Sa is one of those picks that has a lot of kill combos, but it does trend towards more skirmishing-oriented combination. And here's the jungle trade that's really going to define the matchup. Are they both going to go for farm till 6, sort of tank junglers, or is Lian going to drop into that more carry-focused himself? Because Lian is one of those guys that has played a lot of Nidalee, a lot of Karthus, and a lot of Kayn, but it does look like he is going for a more standard draft this time around, just splitting the difference between Udyr and Hecarim. Udyr a little bit more early game focused, and Hecarim a little bit stronger in those team fight scenarios. On the other hand, we are going to get Rakan from Hong as well. So Rare Adam are drifting away from, I think, their late game team fight strategy in the Tristana and Azir, and they're going for full pick.
Kind of surprised to see the Rakan over something like the Rel as well, because I feel like Rel and Rakan have somewhat similar identities when it comes to the way they begin team fights, right? That kind of snap engage that you can pull off. But either way, Rakan going to be the pick for Hung, as Tristana is locked in for Gala. So we have our 2 bot lanes locked in. They're both very, very aggressive bottom lanes, so we could have some action early on in the game.
Yeah, this is super interesting. In the LPL, Kai'Sa actually has a pretty decent win rate against Tristana. It's something you don't really expect, but the stats definitely show it. But in lane, typically the Tristana will push the Kai'Sa in. You need priority from other lanes to get that going. And the way it plays out is, if you actually get a sizable lead against the Tristana can't actually play her lane anymore. She will perma shove, and you can just kill her over and over with Killer Instincts and Gale Force going in onto her. That's kind of how the dynamic works. So we should expect Rare Adam to throw a lot into that bottom side. In the meantime, Lucian, as we mentioned, just way too much of a headache for RNG drafts. So far 6-0. Nobody wants to give Xiaohu that champion.
And I have to say, I can't blame them. But I do feel like there are a few champions here that RNG can just blind pick and basically say, look, this could be top, this could be mid. You're the ones that have to decide where we're going to end up putting this. And obviously things like the Gnar, which is still by far Xiaohu's most played, have been taken off the board. Lucian, as you say. But things like the Jace can be flexed to an extent. Even things like the Akali or the Sylas we've seen going up towards the top side. So we'll see where RNG go with this one.
Yeah, RNG, I think they typically like to draft something that has flex potential here. We have seen a lot of different flexes, like they even flex Renekton sometimes. Orianna is even a flex for them, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see something with both solo lane potential. But I wonder if they lock the... Okay, so they're actually locking in the Twisted Fate. This is kind of interesting. I think they're reading RA's very bottom side focused draft, and they're saying we need to counteract this somehow by sending extra members there. So they're not going to go for the flex strategy, instead just going for something that they for sure can support their bot lane with, and make sure that Tristana is not going to get like anti-snowballed against.
Well, over to RA now. They need to lock in both of their solo laners, and the Cho'Gath will be the blind pick top laner. Not something I can say I was expecting to see locked in today, but excited to see what Cube can do on that one. What would you expect to be the answer from the side of RNG? Because maybe something like a Set could do well, but I have to say, I don't know the Cho'Gath matchups that well.
I think they're looking for something that can match Roam. We saw both of the picks here, Galio and Sylas, essentially have the same effective Destiny Gate. That's kind of where I wanted them to go, but at the very end, they switched back to Azir as the big fundamental. We're talking about Azir and Lucian as kind of like the way this matchup really splits. And this is his best champion by a long shot, but I don't think it actually helps out on the bot lane that much. So I think in the last pick, Rare Adam actually sort of pivoted their draft, and they went for something with range advantage, and they're trying to play with counter engage potential on the Cho'Gath and the Rakan. So they're basically looking at, okay, we're going to set up siege with this comp, we're going to force them to walk into us, and then we have counter engage. On the other hand, RNG going for the more aggressive side of the matchup here, and it will be the Tristana top lane.
Yeah, we got baited. We got baited. We were talking about the mid lane lock-in being a flex. It was the AD carry lock-in that was the flex all along. RNG, they're just too clever for us. They just out mind gaming everyone on the field.
That is really fun to see. We have seen Xiaohu take this against the Gnar, but against the Cho'Gath matchup, it's actually quite interesting because Cho'Gath has a lot of interruption abilities with the Rupture and also with the Feral Scream that he can even stop summoners. So this is a highly volatile lane. We have seen lanes just collapse in favor of the Cho'Gath in this scenario, and I think we might be just seeing sort of a Turbo Chem tank rush on the Cho'Gath. Personally, I love Everfrost Gauntlet on the Cho'Gath. I feel like there's so much synergy with those items in terms of the extra HP and slow field and all of that, and the extra size too. But I feel like this is probably going to be your Turbo Chem tank top lane game, coming out from Cube and seeing if he can catch the Tristana.
I was going to say, I'm a huge fan of the Turbo Chem tank on Cho'Gath. You just chase people down as a giant void beast. It's always going to be an entertaining one, but guess what? We've got Xiaohu on another spicy pick. The Tristana up in the top lane against Cube there. But I want to reiterate the stakes as we head into game number 1. For RA, the sky is the limit. If they can win every single game and they get some lucky results in other series, they could take first place. But for RNG, if they win today, if they finish this series strong, they will guarantee themselves first seed for this split of the LPL's playoffs. But we're heading on to the Rift. We're heading into game number 1 between RNG and RA. First place versus 6th place, but only 2 wins separating them. And RA certainly going to have their work cut out coming into these games.
Just letting the Jayos wash over me once again. I believe this stadium is going to be played in Beijing, RNG's home arena. And taking a look at the starting runes and items. Xiaohu going to go for the call. He's very confident in his laning ability to not get picked at all. And excuse me, we just got word from production. This is being played in Shanghai. So my mistakes. There's just a lot of RNG fans all over China.
They're everywhere, man. They're absolutely everywhere. And you can understand why, especially after a split like this. RNG have completely turned things around. Because, you know, when you think back to 2020, it was a real rough year for RNG. And it feels like this has been very much a redemption split. But Hung and iBoy face checking in here. They're going to be able to just trade evenly. They wanted to spot where the way was starting on the bottom side of the map. They got that information. And the answer was yes.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure they actually have the visual confirmation, but just judging by the way Gala and Ming were positioning, they should know that at the end. And just taking a look at this bottom lane, usually we do see Kai'Sa be able to push this lane quite heavily. They're even checking for a level 1 invade here, just punishing the Alistar like we should in this meta and in this matchup. And of course, Rakan, level 1, does a lot of auto attack damage. Top 3 auto attacks in the entire champion pool of League of Legends. So we're just going to see a bit of a zone out from there, and that's going to lead to a level 2. Meanwhile, I'm really curious about how they actually path for Cube. I think this is sort of the biggest problem matchup-wise that Rare Atom have against RNG. RNG will play for their top lane 100%, while on the other hand, Rare Atom is one of those teams that, unless Ike's is playing, actually rarely goes for the top lane. Like, they will leave Cube on an island by himself. So, it's kind of a huge issue to see how Lillian is going to path towards his top lane, how he can still get Scuttle, not lose too much experience, and still keep this Cho'Gath afloat.
And I feel like when you think about Cube, honestly, still some of the highlights for me from this player were back in 2020 Demacia Cup, and I remember being really hyped for him coming into the split last year, and it not really being as exciting of a performance from him as we'd been hoping, because the team was never playing towards him, right? He was often just put on Ornn duty, and feels like the Cho'Gath may be that again. But one thing I will say is that Cho'Gath does do exceptionally well on the weak side, right? You have a ton of sustain built into your kit, so hopefully that should be good enough that Cube can just farm it out. But Xiaohu, he kind of knows that, right? With the cool start, he's saying, look, I'm okay to just farm it up too. But you can see Wei up on the top side of the map. We'll be able to grab that Scuttle Crab. We'll just look for a bit of vision. There's no camps though, so it should just reset here.
I will say for RNG, their team comp is actually incredibly difficult to pilot. They really don't have a lot of great frontliners, and if you look at Tristana and Xayah, they die very easily. So if Han gets a good quickness, like, he could wipe multiple members on the enemy team just straight off the bat. It's one of, I think, RNG's greatest strength, that they have learned how to play without, like, really a tank, and having Wei and Ming fill in a lot of the times for the damage taken stat. Like, this is the fun thing about RNG, but their top laner actually takes the less damage out of any top laner in the LPL. Like, he is not going to be a frontliner, and that's kind of the limitation, but also sort of the creativity coming out from RNG that they're able to execute on these comps so well. Now, taking a look at the map, as we talked about, this is going to be a very Tristana-focused, heavy early game, and we already have RNG with double warding down. A lot of players will miss this, but you can just sort of creep over the blue buff without getting spotted by the scuttle, and you're seeing RNG playing super safe with this one. They are not only getting the scuttle, they're also dropping a ward on the ramp just to prevent the gank route.
Yeah, the game plan is make sure Xiaohu is miles and miles ahead in the top side. It is so regular, the game plan. And, you know, it's kind of crazy that you mentioned that actually their top lane damage taken is super low. I'm just going to quickly point out, obviously, Lien starting this streak off. We saw the bot lane reset from the side of RNG on clear some vision as well. Fofo TP'd in the mid lane, so they have pressure in all of those lanes, so they're going to be able to just take the streak. And this is one of the things you kind of expect with a Udyr as well, but I was going to say, it's kind of crazy to think that Xiaohu is the lowest damage taken of top laners when his most picked champion is that Gnar anyway, which generally in these team fights does function as a frontline in a lot of circumstances. So kind of amusing that how much priority they've had on that Gnar pick, and yet it still doesn't define him statistically.
Yeah, it really is about the other picks that he also throws in there. You have the AP Gragas, the Lucian as the second and third most played, and then you also have Jace, Orianna, and Tristana going top. So, really is the other picks going in them so far.
Yeah.
Lillian has been spotted right here, and we have Wei coming in for the contest on the 3v3. Don't really expect much action to actually happen here. Fofo, though, does have priority as Destiny Gate is coming in.
Yeah, Crane gets the stun. Nice little ult there from Fofo, but he's out of mana. Lien gonna get the smite down, but chased down by the horsey. Wei jumps in, and it's first blood for RNG.
Really nicely played. Crane coming in with the extra summoner, gets the ignite down, and also Wei finding the scuttle to get the level advantage was massive right there. They're able to get the first pick off of that, and I think that really stops the bot lane snowball. Like, it's very hard to play this bot lane out now for the side of Rare Adam, and they're also out of position.
Oh, why are they sticking around? Forced to flash his eye boy as he's chased down. The stun comes through onto Hung. I don't think any more kills will come of this one, but a couple of summoners being used across the board there. The ignite from Ming, the flash from eye boy. Kind of a foolish mistake there from the bot lane RA.
I was really surprised that they got caught up by that one. I definitely thought it was a clear signal to back off after you saw Hecarim just ride down your jungler to near full health. But Rare Adam, they pay for it with even a couple more summoners, and you know, we are going to see this bot side just be a target once again. I do want to mention, this is kind of how Rare Adam lost their 9-game win streak. It was just iBoy getting caught out 3 times in a row to end the series right there. So we have seen this sort of like targeting, especially against iBoy before. I wonder if Crying is going to follow up on that one.
And just think back to 2020, right? Wasn't that the exact same story with Vici? Was like so many times they'd actually be looking really good, and then iBoy would get caught out in the late game. But it felt like earlier in this split that wasn't really happening so much. And then that series, as you rightly say, iBoy getting caught out multiple times out of position. It's a rough situation. Oh, that knockup is huge! Cube doesn't have feast available, so the Buster shot saves Xiaohu, but my goodness, that was close.
That was so well timed. He actually timed the rupture to land after the buffer came out. So really beautiful job by Cube, giving him the flash advantage. And I think that's the opening that he needed right there to really get Lillian to try and help him out with this lane. Once again, RNG has thrown so many resources into the top lane. We see double pinks there. We see Ming roaming towards the top side. But in the meantime, Rare Adam are already starting on this Herald.
Cube in a bit of trouble, going to be feared here. Already low on HP. Xiaohu should be able to finish this as Lien goes in to play distraction, but the bot lane is here. It's going to be 1-for-1. Lien is on the wrong side of the map, though. Gala's here to chase him down. Couple of feathers come in, and these ones don't tickle. Easy kill for Gala, and that should be Herald for RNG.
That was beautiful teleport position coming in from Crying. He basically severed Rare Adam from the rest of their carries. Fofos was in rotation, iBoy was in rotation, and they were actually going to arrive a little bit sooner, but with Twisted Fate just cutting off the top end jungle for Rare Adam, they are able to clean up that play, and Now we see this Hecarim really far ahead at this point. 1-0 and 2. He's going to get that Turbo Chem tank miles ahead of Lilian. And, you know, this is also a Twisted Fate starting off with a really, really strong snowball. So let's watch that again and just check out the positioning here coming into the jungle. It was, I believe it was just a TP into the position here. So they're able to cut everything off. It's a 4v2 on the top side. Rare Atom are rotating, but just not fast enough.
I don't even think it was a TP. I think Lien just started the Herald off while he had negative prio in mid and top. Maybe not the optimal bit of gameplay there, but it is what it is. Drake coming up in 30 seconds though, Clement, as Cube continuing to try and put the pressure on. This is one of the things, as you mentioned in Champ Select, like, Cho'Gath is real good at shutting down carries. He's real good at stopping you doing anything, and he has that sustain in the lane. Because that Xiaohu can't necessarily do too much in that 1v1 anymore.
Yeah, I think it's just the Feral Scream, the ability to stop Rocket Jump and your flashes coming in, but we have round 2 for Herald as Crying has to fight off a Azir on the side.
Yeah, Ming looking for stuns. Fofo with an Emperor's Divide to keep himself safe here. RNG wrestle control of the area. See, Drake is available. Neither team's interested in that. They want their Herald. They want the gold lead for themselves. RNG on the play right now. Lien toying with the idea of going in, but Fofo with no ulti. I'm not sure this is a wise fight for RA to take, but I think they might just go for it anyway. Posturing for this one as the Herald goes in. Quickness is there, but they're just feared and annihilated. Xiaohu blows them to smithereens.
They were trying to get off the ramp, and RNG just were not going to let that happen. They create the bounce house on the carries of Rare Atom as they go forward, trying to get the CCs off. And that just really wasn't worth it on the side of Rare Atom. I don't think they had the... they were definitely in the deficit at this point, and they were trying to force themselves through a ramp without Azir's backup ultimate to disengage. So I just felt like that was a really weird play, and RNG, their frontline was in perfect position to intercept. We have talked about sort of how these comps sort of play out, is Rare Atom do have very good pick with the quickness and killer instinct, but you can see how RNG just knew their win conditions perfectly. The quickness doesn't get any purchase whatsoever. He's trying to go back in, and the Buster Shot just takes him out completely.
That is actually just beautiful. Ming completely denies the engage, gets a double knockup, then the double fear over the top of that, and then the double buster shot. Like, that was as clean as it comes, and then the Satchel Charge finishes the kill as well. Speaking of which, Xiaohu just finished the Gale Force, so if you thought he was good at just blowing people up before, that ability is pretty much just double.
Bro, this is rather interesting that he's going for Gale Force. You would think that in lane, like Kraken Slayer would give you maximum punishment, especially against someone like the Cho'Gath. But for this time around, he's going for more safety in this one. He's just trying to keep his distance away from the engage potential of Rare Atom. And like, we could see the theory that Rare Atom were going through. You just tag someone with the quickness and Kaisa flies into the backline. You could get easy snipes going in that way. But RNG just read that so well. Like, Hong didn't even get any crowd control down, so this is once again what we might be seeing for a long time here.
Yeah, we'll have to see, as I think I might be slightly delayed as my feed has crashed out slightly. But yeah, we'll hopefully be able to get everything working again shortly. But let's quickly talk about item breakpoints, because we have some mythics across the board on the side of RNG and an Essence Reaver for Gala. There's nothing for RA as they're collapsed upon on the bottom side of the map. Cube gonna be feared, and Gala should be able to pretty easily finish that kill off. In fact, Wei gets himself a bit of kill credit. There are only 2 plates remaining on that bottom tower, and there is a Herald in the pocket away. Now Ming and Xiaohu playing together. Xiaohu pretending to be the bot laner as iBoy is ignited, ticked down, and finished off here. No, will walk away for a second, finally drops.
Yeah, and RNG actually win out on both sides of the map at the same time. Fofo not able to leave and match Crying. Also, they do know where Udyr is. Rare Atom trying to claw one back in the 2v2, but they're going up against an Alistar.
Yeah, the aftershock keeping Ming alive there. Fofo and Crying 1v1ing in the river. Fofo ain't winning that one for now. Crying That's the move away. There was a tier 2 taken. That Herald snowballed into 2 towers on the bottom side of the map as well. Wei doing a great job to push the advantage. And it feels like RNG are just accelerating out of control here. RA want to answer in the top side. Ming is here alongside Xiaohu. Leon wants to make the play. Flashes for the stun. And we'll be able to finish that one off. That was more damage than I was expecting, to be honest, out of Leon.
And I just want to mention that this is super interesting coming out from RNG because the way they're able to execute this and win out on both sides of the map is because they're playing double 80 carries. Like, they actually have shove on both sides, especially with an over-leveled Tristana that's able to hold out against the 2v1. This is some of the tempo plays that I think a lot of teams don't really take into calculations because you just don't play against 80 carries that much coming in from the solo lanes. So their top laner in RNG has a lot more wave clear potential. Now Rare Adam will try to punish Wei as he goes into the river. It's way too tanky for that. That's not going to happen and result into anything. And yeah, I think RNG, that's just kind of some of the tricks that they've picked up this season. Able to understand tempo plays better, and also with this this Twisted Fate, with the Everfrost completed this early on, those tower dives are going to be even more deadly.
Fofo is going to flash over the wall. Feared, though, the gold card is there. Fofo falls. Now on towards Lian, who just has to flee here. Cubes arrived, though, and actually they have the numbers advantage. Cryan's in trouble. Quickness with the knock-up. Xiaohu over the wall looking for Lian. Gets the resets immediately. Onto Cube they go. Knocking him away. Cryan survives somehow. Xiaohu with the double, and RNG, they just can't lose a fight.
Go down to 100 HP, but they aren't able to kill him through the stopwatch. And that's a 3-for-0 trade. In the meantime, RNG even get an unopposed top lane tower for it. Rare Adam, their hopes at clinching that #1 seed fading by the minute.
Yeah, this is a struggle for them. But hey, for RNG, this is looking beautiful, right? They recently had a couple of losses. They recently lost to JDG, and it was like, okay, where does RNG sit? What does this mean for the team? Doesn't mean anything. They're back on top. They figured out their form.
This is kind of crazy, but we're going to watch this again. The main advantage, once again, is RNG really have all the side lanes onto lockdown, so they can rotate their members a lot quicker here. They're going for the 2v1 play, and just watch this as Crying goes into stasis at the exact moment, gets the healing to go through, and just comes up alive there. You know, it was really good use of keeping his pots running during the stasis and coming out healthy afterwards.
Yeah, very nicely done by RNG. And great ult there from Xiaohu as well. At the last second, drops the Buster shot so that Cube can't get the auto off to finish Cryan. So really nicely played. And I have to say, I love the pace at which RNG are playing this one. When we talked earlier about what RA were good at, what they built themselves their win streak with, it was quiet early games that led to big leads in the jungle and led to them being able to find advantages in the mid game. RNG have just said, you don't get to have your quiet early game. We are going to brawl you over every single minion on the map and force you into these crazy fights and stop you finding those advantages.
I think RG came in with a really nice idea. They had a lot of lanes with shove, and now we're going to see another collapse just coming in from Ming, plus the Destiny Gate to follow.
Oh no, Hug, there's nowhere to go, my friend, and you've actually brought iBoy alongside with you. He's going to fall in just a second. Gala over the wall. There's the fear, but actually flashed away from, so iBoy gets out with his life. But the Herald, that'll be a consolation prize for RNG. At least they get something for themselves.
Yeah, they don't finish off the double kill, but we're going to see this play over and over again, and what I really think Rare Adam need to do at this point is you have to try and just break the 1-3-1. They're pretty much forced to just all in. Okay.
Oh my lord.
No damage traded back
whatsoever. Little Tiger, that's who.
That's just Halo Blaze Tristana for you. Kaisa is not the only Assassin 80 carry in the game anymore.
No, she is not. Well, I don't know if we can say 80 carry top laner. I think this is the front line for RNG, by the way. This is our tank player, the Tristana top. No. Yeah, I don't know. RNG are just running away with things at this point. This feels like not even just a win for them. This is like a statement game. When we look at RNG, winning this series guarantees them top 2. They only have 2 series remaining, including this one. If they could win both, they guarantee themselves first place. This feels like RNG stepping onto the rift and saying, hey, we're first place for a reason, guys. Like, nobody's taking another win like JDG did. That's never happening again.
And their lead mainly just came from playing the Herald a lot better. I actually feel like the laning phase didn't go that poorly for Rare Adam. It was just the Herald plays that really doomed them. The first time they go around, they get their top lane and jungle completely cut off, and the second time it was even a worse disaster as their front line tries to engage. So I'm not sure why RA are going in this hard onto the Herald plays when they don't have the terrain advantage or the priority advantage necessarily. And this is kind of the common theme that we see a lot of the difference between the mid-tier LPL teams and the top-tier LPL teams. I think a lot of times Herald plays are just not worth contesting over. Now we're going to see RNG with another collapse on the map.
Oh, the Everfrost is there. iBoy's caught, but he has Killer Instinct to get himself to the backline. Gala jumping in 1v3 with the Gale Force there. He's already used his E though, so can't pull the feathers in. Bomb on top of Cube will be the first kill there of the fight. RNG find one advantage for themselves. They can drop a Herald in this mid lane, guaranteeing a tier 2. Drake isn't up, but Baron is. I don't know if they can move back over to that one, but they can threaten an inhib with this Herald.
Yeah, Xiao nearly gets the slow with the jump over the wall. And the minion wave is in a very good position as well. I think this might be Rare Adam's chance to kind of go in if RNG overstay. But RNG back up. They're playing this really, really safe at this point. When they are grouped, I think it's probably the best moment for Rare Adam to really strike. As we have mentioned, their carries are actually fairly susceptible to the crowd AoE control. But RNG, they're just willing to drag this one out, play super safe, and I think what RNG want to do is just keep the wave shoved out at this point. No one can contest Tristana, and just constantly fold her into the rest of the team, get that numbers advantage, and just find your kills. Rare Adam, at this point, it looks like they're almost all-inning on Desperation Barons at this point. Take a look at the items coming out from Fofo. He's not even going for the Leandri's Anguish. He's like, I actually just need shove. I desperately need shove, or RNG's just going to collapse on us 24/7.
The crazy thing is, it's felt like RA have been making these kind of desperation plays up towards that top side of the map all game, right? When we talk about their Herald, that they kind of couldn't contest, let's be honest, and then they really brute forced that contest when they didn't even have Fofo's ulti. That felt like a, we can't let RNG have this, we can't let them snowball, but by brute forcing that unfortunate fight for themselves, they actually made RNG snowball even harder.
Yeah, they really did, and at this point, look at Crying. He's so deadly right now. He has a 10% extra move speed from the Magi's, now that it's at 14 stacks, and his Everfrost plus yellow card is actually a 3-second like root plus stun combo. So whenever he just moves across the jungle, it's so deadly, and he does have the blue trinket to actually catch people out. They can really just do opportunistic picks. They can set up in the jungle and then just pop the blue trinket. If there is a numbers advantage, he instantly lands and they find a pick. They can just do that over and over again with the shove coming out from their solo lanes.
Yeah, and one nice little thing about the Magi's as well is if you're Twisted Fate and your ultimate gives vision on someone that your allies couldn't already see, you actually get the assist for that vision. So you can very easily stack the Magi's without ever even being a part of the play as Twisted Fate, which, I mean, Crying's been a part of pretty much every play this game. He's got 11 out of 12 on the kill participation. So, yeah, I don't feel like he'll need that mechanic, but I'm just saying, it's possible if they're playing both sides of the map.
Destiny Gate is super fun to see. One of the things that people don't notice about it is it actually pops like spell shields too, so you can get a lot of surprise drops on people even with the Banshee Veils coming in. We're gonna see another drop once again. This time it doesn't seem like they actually, oh, they have found the target in top lane. I was just not looking at the right place.
Guess who's caught out of position? It's iBoy again. Flash from Crying. It was an attempt. There was an attempt from iBoy. You got to respect that. But he's caught out way too far up at the top lane. And guess what? It's Baron o'clock.
He knows it's not even close, so he doesn't use any of the summoners. And I really think Rare Adam, before they try to solo push these lanes, they actually just need a group and force a team fight. They need to get a good team fight win here.
Yeah, I don't know if 4v5 is the play, though. Q pushed into the rest of the team as the feathers come out. Festorm aggressively as well. Cube finished off. RNG, they were just looking for the fight all along. Crying steps forward with the gold card onto Fofo, but he slides away from that one. Hung chased down by Weiwei. And there's a big old horsey chasing down the bird. There's a lot of birds on the side of RA, but not enough. The bombs come through again from Xiaohu as Hung flashes out to safety. RNG just taking everything on the map.
Well, if we have to pick an MVP for the losing team, I'm going to give it to Hung. That was a pretty cool ankle breaker move right there. Trying to fake out Wei on that one. Yeah, we take some silver linings when they appear. But I meant that Rare Adam had to look for a 5v5 play before they try to answer the side lanes. The cooldowns right now for RNG are just so low that they can just do this drop over and over again. And I really think that before sending iBoy to the top, you kind of need to go for an all-in.
I don't know about the 3v5 guys. I don't know if that's the answer. We just did this. It didn't work. Why are we doing it again? iBoy about to go down, has his flash, but let's be honest, he can't get out of this one. I mean, look, RA, I guess they have dinner booked after this one. They want to get this game done with as fast as possible.
True. They're thinking, you know what? We could use these extra 2 hours to prepare for our series against EDG later in the week, you know? Like, this one's kind of over at this point. I'm kind of surprised that Rare Adam...
They've got a scrim booked.
Yeah, Rare Adam did have side select coming into this one, so I'm really surprised that they actually went for the blue side draft, considering that the way JD Gaming kind of dismantled RNG was just, we're going to go pure red side. We are going to leave our top lane for last pick. If we're on red side, the flex shenanigans don't actually work, because we can actually decide what we want to play into the top lane against them. So I feel like with JD Gaming, like, sort of laying out the script on how to play against RNG, I'm really surprised at the way, like, Rare Adam kind of approached this one.
Yeah, it feels a little disappointing, but maybe they did pick the Cho'Gath, which JDG did. However, the circumstances were quite different.
Yeah, blind Cho'Gath and counter Cho'Gath kind of are really different.
not quite the same thing. Similar. They are both Cho'Gath, so at least they looked at the match history. But yeah, not quite working out. And we got to give a quick shout out to Ming as well, and how great he's been looking, not just in this game, but this entire split. I feel like he has been perhaps the best support in the league this split, but this game as well, just being in the right place at the right time consistently throughout the game, getting some fantastic engages on this Alistar. And I feel like Alistar has really become one of his absolute bread and butter picks.
For sure. It's always been like an RNG tradition to have a great Alistar on the team, starting with Mata. Now Wei just looking to home people away. Crying is the target, but it looks a little bit too little too late.
That was so sad. The Everfrost just completely denies everything, and they're going to lose 2 inhibs for that play. Fofo low on HP, but he will walk out of this one. Or will he? Crying in the base. The cards on the fountain aren't quite enough. Rolled it a little too low on that one. Pulled a 16 right off the deck for the dealer. Now to the bot lane, though. RNG, they just get to sweep everything up. This is honestly just housework for them now.
Yeah, way too much wave. They're going in onto the top lane. Gala gets another kill, and there's honestly no answer from Rare Adam. They already expended all of their engage tools earlier on, so they have to take this front to back, which doesn't seem like a great answer.
This is just brutal now. It's 27 minutes into the game, and it's a 15,000 gold lead. Unless Fofo can get some kind of Shreema shuffle, but his ult's on cooldown. Crying with a red card onto the team. They can end the game whenever they want, but they don't want it just yet. They want a few kills. iBoy will go down, the Nexus falls, and RNG just absolutely demolish RA.
Such a disgusting game, and just showing another level of understanding and how to play these sort of double AD carry compositions coming out from RNG. They were up 13,000 gold before 25 minutes in this one. And I think it's just mainly down to 2 things. One is understanding how to play the Herald fights a lot better. They were in position. They were able to section off Rare Adam twice in a row. Rare Adam kind of just ran into them and gave over kills. And the second thing was the far superior tower trading setup that they had. They had solo Xayah pushing up against Cube's Cho'Gath, and I don't think Rare Adam really saw the play. They saw this one AD carry, and they were like, oh, we can defend it with this top laner. So Cube actually just walks up and then the Twisted Fate and Hecarim just collapse on him instantly for the kill. They leave mid lane wide open against Azir. They don't even care about mid lane. In the meantime, the two-man from Rare Adam actually just straight up lose to Tristana and Ming, because this Tristana is a solo lane Tristana with a lot of gold. So it's just another level of understanding on how to play these compositions out, and taking advantage of the fact that Rare Adam don't really have the same calculations.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the Twist of Fate and Hecarim combo as well, is that like those two champions can very quickly change where they are on the map. With Hecarim flying across the map with Turbo Chem Tank, you get like a quarter of the way across the map in 5 seconds. So when you think he's over in the mid lane, he's ganking top in a second. And then Twisted Fate, obviously with the Destiny port, can quite easily follow up on that. But also I think this game was a testament to how much flexibility RNG have in their draft phase. The fact that Tristana was actually the flex, that like when we saw the Tristana Alistar locked in, my brain was immediately like, oh yeah, well that's the bot lane sorted. You know, this is like the premier bot lane duo right now in the LPL. Tristana and Alistar is like the go-to. That's that sorted. I wonder what will go in the solo lanes. You expect the mid laner to be flexed, but no, they can flex all of the roles. They can flex anything at this point.
Yeah, that's such a massive advantage, and exactly why you have to play red side against RNG. I don't think going blue side against them is actually a great idea. We're going to be taking a look at the gold graph. A really smooth sailing overall, and Crying actually dealing the most damage on the team, which is kind of surprising given how fed Xiaohu was, but he was basically in every fight, starting it off super soon. And we see how oppressive Everfrost actually can be when you are in that snowballing position. Coupled up with the gold card, you're looking at 3 seconds of just lockdown potential. And if there's no answer from the side lanes, you're just dead.
This is how you play Twisted Fate. I'm sick of all of these passive Twisted Fates that just clear waves mid, get out on the map, force things to happen. This is what Twisted Fate is picked for in competitive. We're going to jump into a quick break. We'll be back, though, with game number 2 to see if RA can maintain first place in just a few.
Destiny on the line, knocked out 100 times. Right back up, we climb, we climb, we climb, we climb. Victory on the mind, all we know is the grind. When we at war, we fight, we fight.
There's no retreat from this now. He teleports in. He's not going to get the inhibitor. So Afrika are banking on trying to go for this fight as Lehens takes so much damage, but he does the tanking. The Mega Gnar does nothing in the front line, but the Encore is huge, and now the Gnar does something. A massive Gnar into the wall as they totally clap the Afrika side. Lehens here just going to delay the inevitable.
Like that game sense is something that it's sometimes hard to highlight in pro games as
He just broke his ankles! He's never seen anything like it! Knocked out 100 times. Right back up, we climb, we climb, we climb, we climb.
Atordoado, deu aquela segurada. O Ed tentou fazer a entrada, mas o Oz conseguiu devolver muito bem. A Filipe tá nem acumulando carga, agora sim acaba partindo pra cima. Entrou! E a Forax entra pra dizimar! Cai o time inteiro, e aí, Titã, meu amigo, não tem o que fazer! Este Forax
Otto gets killed now by Tristana. Nice engage by Dreams. Headbutt puts him away a little bit, but the re-engage is beautiful already. Dardark is gone. 1 for 1 so far as Tristana has dropped, and Fake God is going to try to do a Palafox, but can he win that battle? The rest of his team is dropping around him, though. Hourglass buys some more time. Soligo is alive, though, and Fake God gets it again. You gotta be kidding me. Dignitas win the fight 4-1 against Mountain Soul.
Real possibility that doesn't happen. 3 items on both AD carries, so he gets stunned there on
onto Mako, but Knight could be in trouble. He doesn't have flash for himself, and the rest of the team needs to get in and protect him. It's going to be Carter to go down, starting the fight. In goes 369 onto 5, but the rest of the team's not here. In comes Dracula with the bomb onto everyone. Do they have the damage to finish skills? The answer is yes, as down goes Viper, and Jackie Love has his moment in the sun. It's time to shine, baby, as he grabs himself to Scout, the last man standing. But Top Esports blow this game.
Yo.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
嗯，首先RNG打野威的话，这赛季表现也非常亮眼嘛，也是一个很强的打野选手。我觉得威这赛季打的也比较凶嘛，然后对上他的话，我需要注意一下，前面不要给机会吧，然后后面的话可能打团的话我会比他强一点。
That's a rough interview to see right there, where he's basically like, look, Way's really, really good in the early game. We're just going to match that early game. And we're fresh off of a game where RA just got obliterated by Way in the early game. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bunchables. I'm joined by Clement as we head into game number 2 of what I was hoping would be a really close series. But based on game 1, maybe not, Clement.
Yeah, you can kind of see the mentality there from Lillian. It really signifies how RA wants to treat this series, is you want to skip over the early game as much as possible and just wait for the team fighting. That's also where RNG is the strongest. Most of the teams consider RNG the strongest team fighting team, but Rare Atom, they want to stick to their strengths. They want to have this sort of slow game, a farm up early game that we have seen from them in their 9-game win streak. That's kind of how they played most of it out. So this time around, I want to see if Rare Atom can keep a hold of the early game a little bit better. And the main thing I'm looking at is if they can avoid just throwing a top lane blind tank out early. I feel like if you do that against RNG, you're just going to get chewed up. They have way too many AD carries that they can put into the top lane for Xiaohu, and you just don't get away with blind pick top lane tanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think RA will be able to, well, hopefully they'll select themselves red side here so they can go for a counter pick themselves against Xiaohu. But even then, again, with the flex picks RNG can go for, maybe you still don't exactly know your matchup, even if you're on red side. But we can get into that when we get in the draft. Let's look at our MVP for game number 1. And I'm going to have to do a bit of a drum roll. I didn't catch who it was off of the back of the break, but it is going to be Wei. 4-0-10. Dominant performance. I honestly think, like, Wei had an amazing game. So did Xiaohu. So did Cryan. Like, I think there was many people you could have given MVP to, but I think Wei was kind of the conductor at the front of the orchestra for this one.
Yeah, he got that first kill into the mid lane alongside his mid laner, and we did see just a lot of good engages. He was holding on to the onslaught of shadows a lot of times to force summoners out later, and it really all started from here. Once you get that turbo Ken tank advantage over the map as a Hecarim, it's just so difficult to start the engages. Ming also doing a great job in this one. And the fight pretty much just felt over after the second Herald play. That was kind of the deciding fact. The rest of this is just all snowball with superior map movement, with superior push in the side lanes, and just Wei having a field day, running people down.
Yeah, I just love how willing RNG were to just brute force these fights and get into the middle of the scraps. It was a great engage there from Hung. Like, Hung actually looked pretty good on the Rakan this game. It has to be said, Hung had a pretty decent performance in spite of this defeat. But yeah, across the board, this was a dominant performance from RNG, and especially towards the top side of the map, which exactly, it's what we've talked about every single RNG series this split. I feel like I'm getting sick of talking about the top side for RNG, because way back at the start of the split, we're like, hey, Xiaohu's the new guy, maybe they can play towards the top side to shore up that weakness. And then the longer the split went on, it was less about that being a weakness and more about like, hey, we can just dominate everyone if we play through Xiaohu. So it's been the way the entire split. I don't know how we're still seeing them just absolutely destroy every single team with the same strategy.
It's crazy, but honestly, in the LPL, there are a lot of teams that have just sort of defaulted to weak side top laners and just put him on the tank or put him on Renekton. And the funny thing is, RNG know this because they used to be that team. They used to be the team that just put Let Me or put New on something like the Ornn, something on a lot of times Renekton as well, and just forgot about him throughout the rest of the game. And we will see a lot of teams here that, honestly, in the LPL, more than any other region, if you're willing to just give last pick or willing to flex for top laner, you will get so many wins just snowballing off of those sort of teams that always default to weak side top. And we can mention a few of them. V5 is one of the biggest culprits for that, even though they had Longxing in the top side. Longxing recently, they have tried to change that strategy, and the second one was Cube. If you thought about who was the most common Renekton picks in 2020, it was Bew and Cube. So those two guys were always sitting alone in the top side, no help whatsoever. And I think RNG, against RNG, that's just a death sentence.
Yeah, Cube looking a little bit square in the first game, I think it's fair to say. We're into champ select though for game number 2 here. RA on the blue side once more. And I'm not going to lie, we're 2 bans in and I'm already worrying for RA with just the fact that they're on the blue side against RNG. Like, RNG can just set themselves up with favorable solo lanes once again, get themselves a priority jungler, and everything's going to be golden. And like, for example, this Lilia ban, you kind of have to respect ban the Lilia from Wei. He's just too damn good. It's his most played by a mile this split. But then Lilia's not really one of the priority junglers right now. It's like Udyr, it's Olaf, it's Hecarim. So you're kind of banning things that leave the power picks open.
True, I just think that Wei had too good of a performance in his previous series. We saw the 4-man sleep coming out, just decimating the enemy team. A lot of teams have been just taking away the Lilia from him. A lot of times he will try to match the Hecarim with the Lilia, so the jungle priority for RNG is a little bit different. I don't think they're huge on the Udyr whatsoever. So it's kind of a moot point to do the usual draft of splitting Hecarim and Udyr. And we are going to see Rare Atom this time again on blue side, but I do have to mention that it was RNG with the side selection in game 2. So they actually picked red side for them. They know sort of the counter picks here. And Gragas is one of those champions that is another RNG staple. It's also a great takeaway from Hong. Hong is incredibly proficient on the Gragas, but I spoke too soon. Alistar going to be selected. At least these 2 picks don't have flex potential.
Yeah, we're going to see basically rinse and repeat so far. Obviously, the Tristana is banned away, so they can't do exact rinse and repeat. But across the board, these are all the same picks as what we saw in game number 1. But RA have the opportunity to change that up. You mentioned the Gragas for Hung. It is locked in.
Yeah, I do like Gragas quite a bit. I think he has flex potential. You can get him from Cube as well. And his engage is a lot less committal compared to something like the Rakan. You don't have to go in yourself. if you party cast, you can happily walk away. So this time around, maybe the Herald fight won't be as detrimental. And what I want to see change out of Rare Adam's draft is you are going for an early game centric poke style of composition. I don't actually want to see the Azir. I think Azir is much more late game, team fight oriented, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, given how fast paced RNG is playing, and given what the composition wants to do in general. You want a mid laner that can follow the opponent mid laner and can actually leave lane to assist plays from being made.
Well, Twisted Fate getting banned away by RA this time. They didn't like how it went last time around. They didn't like what Crown was able to do to them. So take that off of the board. The Nocturne again banned by RNG. This is what they banned in game number 1. And we'll see where they go with the second ban as well. And you'd expect RA maybe could just go with a double mid lane ban here, try and remove some more of those priority picks. But there are a lot of mid laners available as Azir taken off the board. Things like the Orianna, things like the Syndra. There's a lot of picks available here.
I definitely like the Orianna here a bit more, even though it's another control mage. With the pairing with Udyr, it's actually capable of playing pretty good 2v2. RNG, kind of interesting enough, is banning the Nocturne even though we don't have a Nocturne game from the mid jungle. So this is quite telling about their strategy. I feel like they're looking again for another game that's very focused on rotations, and they don't want the potential for the paranoia to interrupt the TPs incoming here. So a very standard draft actually coming out this time, going for the Victor. I think they're reading their matchup against the Orianna, and typically the Victor has been able to push a little bit better against the Ori. So they're just sort of preemptively drafting against the Orianna. And Syndra is, it's an early game champion, but I feel like it's a way too risky early game champion. Like, we have not seen Syndra's work out whatsoever. I like the Jace a lot better though. I want something aggressive from Rare Adam that can definitely go with the engage from Hong.
Yep, so Cube with the blind pick, Jace up towards the top side, and Xiaohu will have his pick of the litter to answer that one. But with all of these mid lane bans, it's becoming a little difficult for Fofo, and it feels like this Syndra is what they're going to have to default to, because obviously the Orianna ban, the Twisted Fate banned, and then you got the Zoe already taken off the board as well as the Azir. We are going to see the LeBlanc in. Clement, you seem over the moon about that one.
I'm really happy to see this. I feel like LeBlanc has a lot more pick potential when he comes into the late game. And she's just sort of this undiscovered gem that we have on the roster. If you're going to go for full early game composition like Rare Adam have already drafted for themselves, you might as well go for the LeBlanc. I feel like the LeBlanc has a lot more kill potential this time around compared to something like the Syndra, and it's one of those champions where you're not forced to go tier, where Syndra still has mana issues and has to go tier. So if you want early snowball, I think LeBlanc is the better one here. I will say though, neither of them have had great win rates. We've seen Scout trying this out, didn't really work. We're gonna find out if Fofo can make this one go.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me. Is not like I agree that it fits the composition. It's just whether or not it's playable right now is the big question for me, because it's not. All of the games I've seen of LeBlanc so far this split have not looked convincing, especially with like you're seeing things like this Leandri's build where you don't feel like you can go for just the full burst build, but at the same time it feels like that kind of counteracts the identity of LeBlanc in the first place, right? If you're having to build things like Leandri's.
Yeah, ever since they buffed Verdant Barrier, it also just feels like AP tempo mages have a really bad time. It's like, whoa, you gave 40% buff to Verdant Barrier? Well, I guess I'll just die then. The way you have to play these is it's much more about following up on the jungle rather than trying to get ganks in your own lane. I think it's near impossible for people to just poke out and win straight from laning phase these days. It almost always have to be the 2v2 or 3v3 skirmish. So what we have to see for Rare Adam is definitely trying to link that Gragas up with the Udyr. Those are your two main crowd control points, and see if you can get a snowball kill off the LeBlanc that way.
We'll see if Lien and Fofo can find that 2v2 and snowball, but I'm not going to lie, I think the 2v2 we'll be looking towards is up on the top side of the map. It's going to be Wei and Xiaohu again. That has been the duo that's been taking over the games for RNG. So we can hear the gyos. It's so great to see the arena packed out again. It feels fantastic to have a live audience in, to be able to hear the crowd cheering for the players. But I have to ask you here, Clement. Let's look towards this top lane, because again, that seems to be where the focus almost always is for RNG. We've got Lucian for Xiaohu up against Cube's Jace. I feel like inevitably that is going to be a very volatile lane.
We actually have seen how this works out. Xiaohu has picked the Lucian into Jace multiple times already. And the big sort of difference is that you can dodge away from most of Jace's abilities. The Shock Blast and the To the Skies are actually rather telegraphed. On the flip side, it's very easy for the Culling to chase Jace the entire way. So this is sort of the matchup where we have seen Xiaohu willingly go into this one multiple times, and it typically is a fairly one-sided trade once you hit the level 6. What Cube needs to play for a lot of times is going to be brush control. Brush control is pretty much the way you have to kind of surprise this Lucian pick and take away his mobility advantage.
Try and close that gap. That's the thing. Relentless Pursuit can be used very defensively to just stay away from the Jace. So we'll see how the matchup goes. And you can see both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map as well. Lian and Wei pathing up to the top side. So you can anticipate that that first Scuttle Crab could be a bit of a skirmish on the top side of the map. Hung knocked up though. Aftershock in use there to keep him safe. Just some very aggressive trading on the bottom side for now.
Rare item once again. They're gonna hold on to a level 2 edge. I don't think RNG are actually gonna, gonna push into this one too much. Should be just fairly, standard stay away from the composition. Meanwhile, in the top lane is, as you mentioned, where I'm really excited to see how this goes down. We have Jace trying to hold the lane actually in the middle and just warding until his jungler can come up with him. So again, this is going to be a 2v2 setup, but this time around I do want to mention Fofo will have prio from the mid lane. Victor, before he gets that death ray evolve, is actually very slow at pushing the wave. He can't really match a lot of wave states, and this should be the big advantage for Rare Adam. The fact that they can roam Fofo up towards the top lane and try to cut off or at least keep tabs on Wei.
Yeah, and that's the big difference, right? When we look at game number 1, it was about the Twisted Fate for Cryan and the ability to snowball. Victor not quite the same category as Wei moves up to the top side, but he's on a ward. We'll just be recalling as Lian already grabbed that Scuttle Crab, and you can see RA's bottom lane setting up the Scuttle Crab, or maybe just taking it themselves.
I can spot it.
Side of the map. Lian just runs into the brush, finds Wei, and chases him out of that jungle. That's going to be the ghost popped as well, as Wei just sprints it away.
Yeah, double ghost popped, and this is a pretty good start for Rare Adam. They get a double scuttle start with the bottom side. Fun use of that Gragas, as he does get the stun to get the shield down as well. So pretty strong early game play, and I like the idea this time around from Cube. He's actually holding the wave purposefully to try and get the ganks to go down onto the top side and get Fofo involved. And we will see if they can actually get the punish down this time around. What Wei did accomplish, though, we have to mention, is the ward was dropped onto the top side. So they should be able to... I think that ward actually expires before the second rotation comes out, though. It's going to be 2 full clears from Lian to the top. And we're going to see that RNG definitely will make another play into this blue just to get vision.
Huge crash on the bottom side. This is the disadvantage of Hung leaving that lane to go for the Scuttle Crab for a while, as they lost complete control of that bot side. So this is a nice recall from Gala and Ming. They have a perfect opportunity to just get back to lane without really losing many CS off the back of that crash. So good little advantage found as a 1v1 in the top side, but going to be fairly even. I'd say Xiaohu edging that one out.
Yeah, definitely still with more damage there, and he's sitting pretty. We'll see how the level 6 goes. That's usually when Lucian starts to win big on the matchup. There's not a lot of ways for the Jace to actually recover HP or dodge out on the culling. So we have just seen like Xiao just pop that and just like, well, I'm forcing you back to lane. There's nothing you can do. That's kind of the way he's been playing this matchup. So we'll see a bit later on that one. And with the force, this is actually really smart from Xiaohu. Like, he doesn't have to even worry about Udir's clear. They definitely know that Lilian has been going full clear from bot to top, just given the fact that there was a sort of a leash and they're early warding into the jungle. So he's not going to be in lane for that. And now it's up to Fofo to try to fight something in this mid lane.
Yeah, Fofo, level 6. That advantage can be used momentarily as Wei pretending to be a ward for a second here. Spots Lien, who moves up towards the top side. You called it, that they make this play towards Xiaohu in the top lane. This was spotted out. Xiaohu should know that this is going down. Q's onto the wave. Wei is here to protect his top laner. Lien will not find the opportunity, but might be able to find himself the Scuttle Crab.
This is super interesting from RA as they steal away another Scuttle. That Scuttle score is 3-0 now.
Lien is in trouble though. The 2v2 coming through, but Wei is only level 4. He is chunked, and now Xiaohu chasing down, but they can't close the gap. Cryan was able to rotate up, and Fofo not a part of the play just yet. Cryan still posturing quite aggressively. Could be caught here. Fofo flashes forward, gets the chain for himself, but the gravity weld gonna do a lot of work. Lien here, Cube flashes over the wall to get first blood. Health bars are low for RA, but they're getting away with it. Cryan stuck, gonna be taken down. Health bar so low, Xiaohu cannot finish them, and Cube gets 2.
There was a massive level difference in that one. Lillian just knowing that he could power through with the extra 2 levels and a great low HP flash from Fofo to get the chain across the ramp, and they finally get it to work. This was super interesting as a strategy for Rare Adam, just playing around the Scuttle, playing around the level leads, and the comeback on this one was massive. Able to basically pre-notion that one and still find the first blood over the wall. Watch this come back in for Lillian as they use the sort of alley-oop with a thundering blow straight into the bear stance to make sure they take care of the low health target, and now they are truly snowballing this one away from Crying. Like, Crying, he only has 75 stacks right now, so he's still in that power trough where he doesn't have the death rate, he doesn't have the wave clear potential, and now Lillian is sitting at a comfortable 2 levels across Hecarim. They can just waltz into the jungle anytime they want.
Yeah, fantastic position here for RA. And, you know, we talked earlier about their big win condition was having a fairly slow but dominant early game, right? A clean early game. And just being able to match RNG here in game number 2 and show that RNG can't just bully them out of these situations. Finding a lead for Cube up in the top side especially is going to do absolute wonders for them moving into the mid game, because that's when they really come to their own. Cryan's in trouble here. The ethereal chains just go wide though. Good attempt from Fofo. Is he really? He knows that he can push his advantage in that match.
Yeah, he definitely is feeling it right now. And I do want to see RNG just try to take control of that a little bit more. I feel like they could be roaming and denying even more just complete river control on this top side for Rare Adam can deny a lot more vision from the top side. And where you're going to see it, I think, is you're going to see Xiaohu's top lane sort of advantage start to diminish. Once this LeBlanc is able to roam and take care of all of these wards, like they have been constantly doing double rotation of wards into both the brush and into the Gromp camp for Rare Adam. And once that goes away, it's going to be much harder to keep Xiaohu alive.
Okay, it doesn't matter how the early game goes. Wei is just gonna get top over and over again. Xiaohu gets his second kill. Lien was on Herald, and Wei's like, I don't care, I'm just gonna get top.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say about that, because I feel like Cube was actually in a pretty secure position, but level 6 gank, there you go. Like, there's not much you can do about it.
Level 6 Ghost Hecarim. Yeah, like, it doesn't really matter where you are on the map. He's just gonna fly through past your turret and do whatever he wants. So really unfortunate for Cube, but it's just kind of the way that it is, especially against RNG. And so now RNG at least equalizing somewhat. 500 gold down on the map. So let's talk about what the next step is for RA, because we talked about how they were able to match RNG in the early game. Is the next step for them to be a bit proactive themselves, try and maybe get some of these drakes with the Udyr that they have for themselves, with the bot priority they can get? Or is it much more a matter of playing this one slow?
So I think they're going to continue to index into their top lane, just because that's the only lane that isn't going to play defensive. Right now, Victor has no wave control, and the bottom lane is kind of the same thing. So we will just see very, very slow gameplay from RNG. They're only going to play when they have double ultimates up in the top side, and maybe even wait for the ghost. So I don't expect them to really do anything here. And we do have to mention that RNG do have the sort of late game advantage with their composition. There's a lot more distance, there's a lot more disengage, and I do favor their comp when we go into like the 30+ minute mark. What I want to see from Rare Atom though is constantly just fight over that tri-brush, because they do have a level lead still onto Lillian, and I would prefer to see them actually just take out Xiaohu.
Oh, Cryan in the mid lane. The second chain comes in. Lien jumps under the tower, but Cryan alive. The shield comes through. The Chaos Storm not going to be enough to finish a kill, but you know what? Just surviving there is good enough. Ming, as always, right place, right time.
And once again, we're going to see RNG, knowing that the jungles showed, they're heading straight for the top, and Cube just can't stay here anymore. That's the cost of Lillian going over there to make that play and not succeeding.
Cube wanted to drop a ward in the brush, but he ends up just face-checking Wei. That is pretty much as bad as that could have gone. Cube knows it. You can see him on the player cam. He is frustrated, because how could you not be frustrated being a top laner against this team?
Yeah, and that's why I want to see Rare Atom actually just secure their top side before they go for any of the other plays. You know that RNG is just going to 24/7 go top. Like, that's very clearly their strategy. There's nothing they can really do in the other lanes. They don't follow up very well on engages, especially not Xayah and Victor. So why not just secure the top side for them? We're actually seeing the question mark pings coming out already. This is, I think, Rare Atom, probably Cube, asking why there isn't a ward there behind the red buff so he can actually farm his lane in peace.
Yeah, the question mark ping, a tool that is only ever used for toxicity. Let's be honest, nobody ever pings missing for their lanes. It's only at your teammates, unfortunately. Ming could be caught out here, Lien, moving into the jungle, but in the meantime, guess what? Cube's having a bit of a 2v1. The culling comes through, another kill for Xiaohu. Cube, man, he just doesn't get to play the game. Nice little body block onto a body check, sorry, from Hung onto Ming. It's going to be answered as Cryan just DPSs him down. Fofo doing what he can in that mid lane, but I don't think he has the damage to answer. Gala now caught out on the bot side as well. It's just complete chaos across the map as Lien gets himself a kill onto Gala.
Gala flash healed for that. That's actually pretty massive, and gives Rare Atom another avenue to play through. Right now, I think protecting their top lane hasn't worked out, and Wei is coming in for another just chase down.
Wei's just charging. I feel like Wei has a lot of fun on Hecarim. Whenever I'm watching Wei on Hecarim, he just charges around the map. He's like, "Oh, you're alive. I'm gonna run at you next." It's like a kid in a candy shop, honestly.
Yeah, we're seeing RNG playing out both sides of the top lane matchups, but once again, Lillian.
Hey, Lien, you're alive. I'm gonna run at you next. Lien goes down, and that should be Dragon for RNG.
That was a bit of an overextend from Lillian. Kind of surprised he stayed in that position with bot lane being forced out. And Drake goes over to RNG with more to come as Cryan can chase a little bit onto Hong, and yeah, not really getting the damage at this point. So I felt like Rare Atom really squandered their topside lead. We didn't see at all Rare Atom try to get vision on the top side. Instead, they were just trying to farm it out bottom. So I don't think this was the correct way to play it out. I felt like the first thing you do is just stop all offensive plays from RNG, and then the bottom side can eventually roam on their own. Like, you don't really need to put that much pressure on it. Instead, they really let up the pressure on Xiaohu, and Xiaohu just kind of ran away with it with constant help from Wei. You can see the frustration in Cube. He's so far behind after starting the game 2-1-1.
Yeah, and the thing is, we saw them doing exactly what we wanted, right? It's another trade from Fofo. I will say, I'm liking the LeBlanc pick.
Yeah.
He is putting a lot of pressure down in that mid lane with an almost 20 CS lead as well. But the disappointing thing is we saw them playing towards the top side to start this game off, right? The skirmishing around that top river was what set up RA for success, but unfortunately, they weren't willing to commit to that play. They weren't willing to commit to it further at very least, and they're sort of being punished for that. iBoy at very least will finish off that tower finally, so that will be the first tower of the game going the way of RA.
Ooh, do we have the blast back? Oh, it doesn't quite get it though. And
unlucky.
That's first tower going to Cube. Cube might die a 5th time, but Lillian is incoming.
I feel like Cube is actually the lane opponent for Wei now at this stage of the game. It's more about him versus the horsey than it is anything else. Double kill for Xiaohu. What do you do, man? When Xiaohu's this far ahead, when he's got a Gale Force and a Sheen already, like, I think that top lane is a foregone conclusion at this stage, even if it's a 2v2.
Yeah.
And RNG, they control everything. They can go to the Herald, they can then start to crack open some of these towers.
Yeah, this is a little bit disappointing from Rare. Not gonna lie, no wards dropped in that top side whatsoever. They just never try to scan out from Cube. Though we do have to say this is kind of how they play the game out. Herald secured and iBoy going in.
iBoy really going in, taking out Gala. Very nicely done with the solo kill. And looking for Ming as well. This could be a crucial couple of picks for the side of RA. This could be a window back into the game. Good damage on iBoy. His Hail of Blades just came off a cooldown. This could be the opportunity, but Ming with the flash pulverize the ignite is going to be able to... No, he doesn't actually trade it. Hung survives barely as Fofo gets the double. Xiaohu, though. 1v9, the man against the world. Does he go for the play? The answer is no.
He doesn't have Gale Force or Culling, so he really can't opt into that one. And we're going to see a good punish coming out from Rare Adam, finally. After the double kill, Xiaohu went to base, and RNG still tried to greed for the Herald. They get caught out. Great punishment from iBoy. And I think this is what you wanted to see, really. Like, the bot lane, because it's winning so heavily, and it had prio this entire time, they don't actually need the extra help from Lillian. I definitely would have expected Lillian to actually leverage his CS and his just level lead to go into the enemy jungle. He really didn't do that, and it's a little bit late, but we can still see Rare Adam having that chance to come back. They have this great composition to force RNG to face check. Their burst damage is insane, and they can use the explosive cast from Hong to just get people back over and over again. Not like
Speaking of Hung, he's gone. Where did he go? Jumps over the wall and just gets one shot. Fofo trying to answer for that one. And it's going to be Xiaohu getting one shot this time. Wei in from this side. Ming with a knock-up as well, as Wei just chases out iBoy. He's like, look, you may be pretty fed, but I'm a horsey, and there's nothing you can do about this one. Chases him into the jungle. 9-10 is the kill score. This is the kind of game that I love to watch here, Clement. It's 1,000 gold lead right now for RA, but with this Herald, let's see how much RNG can equalize that.
I want to say that wasn't a caster curse. That was just Ming with good vision over the wall. And Hong going over actually just got caught up by the pulverize, wasn't even able to pull off the flash or the explosive cast, and just dies midair. A huge difference maker as the support gets nothing done.
And let's be honest, this is one of the downsides of Gragas, right? You're not as tanky as some of the other support. Oh wait, is that TP going to get cancelled? Oh no, Fofo manages to arrive, looks for the 1v1 onto Cryin. Does manage to land the second ethereal chain. That's surely going to be a kill for him. Has the vision, jumps in, but the flash from Cryin at the last possible second does manage to survive it. Now Xiaohu in a 1v1 as well. Cube looking for the solo kill, looking for a bit of revenge for what happened in the game, but Xiaohu turns it onto his head. Little Tiger got claws. Cryin's going to go down on the opposite side of the map, but that is a blow to the dignity of Cube.
Yeah, Xiaohu was one full item ahead, and that allowed him to basically just slap him with a stack of gold. And where are you going?
What are you doing? Why are you trying to solo the blue buff? I'm speechless. What was he doing?
I just didn't expect the enemy to be there for some reason.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. Moving on. Let's talk about win conditions or something, because I don't want to beat iBoy up, but I do feel like this happens just a little bit too often. Baron is spotted on the map here. We've got, to be honest, with an AD carry on the top side, I feel like RNG have the kind of composition that can just threaten a Baron at any point.
Let's watch this play again. He face checks directly into the shock blast, keeps the potions popping immediately, and doesn't use the culling until the last tick. So holds on to that really, really long.
Oh my god. So Cube's Thundering Blow cancelled the culling. You can't double tap culling to get your passive off. Famously as Jat, why culling, right? But hang on, we gotta fight. I don't get to talk about the mechanics here. It's gonna be onto Xiaohu. He will be taken down this time. RA have a favorable fight here because Brian is way too deep. He'll go down as Cube gets that kill for himself. Baron is on the cards. Maybe this is the perfect opportunity for RA.
Yeah, just two solo laners going down. Great vision control from Rare Adam. They actually just sneak past all the wards from RNG. Now taking a look, Wade doesn't have the flash, so he's going to have to come in and commit his ultimate if he wants to join the fight here. See if there's any zone out potential. It is going to come down to a smite fight as we do have Wei over the wall.
Wei, level 12, Lian, level 13. Ming goes in to try and disrupt Featherstorm over the wall. In with the onslaught shadows. Who gets the smite? It's Wei! Of course it's Wei! It always goes his way. Him and Gala still threatening the fight for some reason. This is 2v4. Xiaohu now on the way, trying to close the gap. iBoy goes down in the 1v1. Xiaohu forced away, has to flash Wei on the other side of the fight, pulling Cube into the fray. Gala has the damage. He's the guy you got to keep your eyes on the double through. Fofo answers 1 for 1 there as Hung now trying to escape, but Wei, he doesn't want Hung. He wants to take down the mage in the mid lane, but he doesn't get to. Fofo playing this one out, dodges away from the Q. The culling can't hit. Fofo breaking ankles.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, RNG still get the Baron buff right in front of Rare Adam. That was a 5v3, and the way Alistar played that was just so fun to see. Goes over the wall and plays Distraction. In the meantime, we also see Gala actually using the Featherstorm to take Baron down. You could see RA was trying to wait for Hecarim to come down and snipe off Wei, but RNG out mind game them, getting the feathers to land, getting the extra damage onto Lian. That was a 4-man Terrify into the kill onto the jungler, and a very safe smite. All done under a 5v3.
Oh no, Hung. This is not a 5v3. This is a 1v4. And not a great situation. Crying, I don't know if the Chaos Storm was strictly necessary in that situation, but you know what? A kill is a kill is a kill is a kill. Time to push down the mid lane. They've got the Baron buff onto Wei. This will be a guaranteed tier 2. What else can they get off of the play? Because RA trying to threaten and engage. I'm not sure this is a fight you can take.
Yeah, they're just trying to clear the wave at this point. They're not really looking to go all in. And RNG, they have a lot of avenues to succeed right now. I think if they just continue to have vision control on this bottom side, they should be fine. They can just play for Drake stacking to kind of end the game. And all they need to be aware of is making sure they close out the angles where Fofo could potentially come in and sneak off kills like he did before in the top of the side.
So RA now trying to regain some semblance of control of the map. 2000 is the gold lead in favor of RNG. And when you look across the board, look at those items. Xiaohu just finished his Infinity Edge. You got 2 items on Wei as well. You got the Leandries and the Seraphs on Cryan. And even down for Gala, like he's 2.5 items strong as well. This team from RNG is massively strong at this point in the game. The one advantage I would say on the side of RA is going to be iBoy, right? On 3 items already. Maybe that could be the difference maker as Wei chased out of the jungle. Dragon is up in 20 seconds, and this would be soul point for RNG.
Rare Adam right now going for a full backline assassination build. We see the rapid fire cannon coming out from iBoy and also just the Ludens coming in. So in they go, trying to catch Xiaohu.
Yeah, Culling is there as well. Wei on from the side and Hung again just caught out of position. And this is the thing about this composition from RNG with how fast Wei is. Pretty much wherever you stand, you're out of position because he can move around so damn quick. This Drake will go down. No contest available from RA. And it's another objective for RNG. They're just getting everything.
Yeah, it was just a massive difference in vision discrepancy coming out from RNG. They closed off all different angles. They dangle Lucian in front. He's able to stay alive with the Gale Force. And unfortunately, Rare Adam just exposed their backside after that play. We see Wei coming in, just spanking them on the Hecarim. And it really wasn't the pick that we wanted to see. I feel like Lillian's pick potential is a lot lower than something just like a Flash Gragas cast. So they popped the Turbo Chem Tank. They went straight after Lucian with just trying to run him down. And that just gave RNG way too much time to actually react.
Yeah, and if you give RNG time to think about the situation and work out the best way to play it out, they're going to figure it out. iBoy in enemy territory again. Oh, he cancelled the recall?
That is ballsy.
What? What? He wanted the 1v1 with Gala. He's not going to find it. Will recommit to the recall. I can't believe nothing happened for that. I thought that was going to be a win or die moment right there for iBoy. It's going to be neither.
That's the banana boy special. You just wait in the banana brush, wait for someone to pop out. I will say though, he had the itemization plus the extra Gale Force to win that trade. If it did happen,
yeah,
probably would have won that.
Like, you gotta have a lot of potassium to make a play like that. That is for sure. So only Banana Boy will be able to pull it out. So it's going to be 3.5 minutes before the next Drake is up, but Baron is up in a minute's time, and Fofo wants to find an advantage, but Wayne not the ideal target, unfortunately, so will be RNG just clearing the wave and moving up to grab vision control of that Baron pit.
Yeah, right now RNG aren't really paying attention to the bottom side, so I don't expect them to face check whatsoever. They are just playing towards the top side of the map with the Baron buff, and they will get full vision control here. Triple pink wards out on the team composition. Fofo really needs to find a better angle as Lillian once again charging in front.
Oh no. Every time anyone walks near RNG, they're just shredded. There's so much damage here. And this is the thing. You talked about it earlier. Like, the RNG is a team that they don't need to have a tanky top laner, right? They're more than happy to play triple DPS in their compositions and just blow you up the split second you're anywhere near them.
If Rare Atom want to show themselves, they have to be 100% confident to just go in for the kill. I think it has to be Hong right now. I don't want to see another Turbo Chem Tank engage. It's way too predictable. Now we have the 4v5. Can Cube actually get this Baron over the wall? Oh.
No is the answer, unfortunately. That ain't happening. Ming's looking for an engage. Wei speeding up. He's got Ghost. Can just go in. Gets the fear. There's the Chaos Storm. Fofo goes down, and he was the only ray of hope for RA in this game. Cube will be chased down by the pony as well. Just get a nice Thundering Blow. Let's keep himself alive for a second there. But flashes over to enemy terrorist. Him and iBoy are just on the wrong side of the map, just wandering around the jungle, going for a nice little hike on a Monday afternoon. As Cube looks for a couple of minions. I think maybe you should have just recalled, mate. I think you actually had an opportunity to get out of this one, but I don't think Wei's going to let you get away with it again. iBoy, again recalling. Does he cancel it? No, this time he commits to it.
You don't see me? You don't see me? Never mind.
Yeah, they see him. Peekaboo, Cube goes down. Another kill for RNG. It just feels like, man, ever since that early game, there's not been anything nice to say about RA, and I feel bad. I wanted to be excited for this team going into playoffs. This is a team that literally I was refusing to get on board the hype train for almost the entire win streak, and then as soon as they were about to face LGD, I jumped on that hype train and I was hyping them up because they were going to get 10 wins in a row, and immediately they just flopped. And now against RNG, they had a great early game to start this one off, and it all just fell apart in the mid game.
Yeah, we do have to mention that RA are not really playing with their most successful strategy. I feel like they realize they can't play tanky topside, weak side, so they're going for like a red deck win strategy where it's you have an advantage in mid lane, you have advantage in bot lane, and you just try to snowball the win. But it's not really what they do best. I think Lillian's first natural instinct was still to farm up, given those lane advantages. So they didn't really get the lanes that far ahead. RA are just not a lane-centric team, and the late game, right now, they're just getting outscaled. They have to find that amazing pick. Hong's going in. Can he get the cast?
Oh, that's a cast onto 4. Ming is aftershock, though, so he's real tanky on the front line, and Xiaohu is off to the side. Fofo and Xiaohu 1v1, and iBoy picks up the kill to finish it. 4v5 now. This is the chance for Rare Atom, but this chemistry ain't working out for them as Lien falls. Fofo chased out as the Chaos Storm is going to corral Rare Atom up towards the top side of the red buff here. Dragon is onto the map. Wei, if he can get the smite, will secure a mounted soul for RNG. Lien has been picked once again. There is no 50-50 on this one. If RA want to contest, they've just got to get the fight.
Level 15 Wei going in. He has a huge smite. The only chance is for Gragas plus Fofo to go in, but they're not even going to get close.
Ming just flashes through it. iBoy just trying to get a shield, trying to keep himself alive. Cube wants to contest, but Wade doesn't even have to DPS the Drake. He can just run at the Jace instead. There's the Mountain Soul. There's another fight. And that might just be the win as well for RNG as they start to chase down these players. It's Fofo and Hung. Wei has been spotted. Fofo can't one-shot Wei, though. Wei's too damn tanky. And Hung just gets a belly bop to keep himself alive while RNG run it down mid.
Really the worst possible soul to give over to RNG. Rare Adam are trying to run a burst composition, and there's no chance they get that over the extra armor plus the extra shield. What is Wei doing here? Okay.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. I'm not sure why he's there. He dies, but hey, it's a bit late in him, so I guess he's playing Distraction.
Yeah, our RNG are kind of taking this one a little bit loose on the end stages, but still very, very much in control of this one. We are going to be having like the 3 items completed from Xayah as well, and also Victor is unburstable. So there sadly is no easy target for Fofo at this point. Xayah can jump into the air with the Feather Storm. We have the stasis for both Crying and Xiaohu. And that's typically officially when this composition loses all potential win conditions, when you can no longer just reliably burst out the carries.
Yeah, and I do feel bad for Fofo in this game because I feel like he actually had a pretty admirable performance on this LeBlanc, a pick that really hasn't been meta. There was a lot of bans on towards him in this draft, and it felt like the LeBlanc almost succeeded. And maybe if he'd got the 2 kills in that first 3v3, if he'd been the one getting the kills instead of Cube, maybe this game goes differently. Maybe he's able to snowball the lead, but it was not so. That's not the way it went. And now it feels like it's fallen apart a little bit for RA. And, you know, I feel like Fofo's actually had a really good split for himself. He's looked really fantastic in the mid lane, and especially with players like Knight and Rookie having pretty rough splits, feels like he's actually kind of climbed up the rankings a little bit. But games like this, it's hard to watch if you're an RA fan.
Definitely is, and this is just so fun from RNG as they go over the wall onto Lion, finding another pick potential. Tries to go in, but great Feather Storm here.
It just feels like Lian is just permanently getting annihilated by this RNG squad at this point. Every single time he shows his face, they go in. Speaking of which, onto Lian. They charge once more. Lian goes down to the laser from Crying. Tears all the way down his face. They've got supers. They could just go down mid if they want to. Oh, there's a culling onto Hung. Oh, can't quite get the auto through after the Q. Hung gets away with his life. I guess Baron's up in 15 seconds. Why not? Let's get another objective.
Yeah, Cube doesn't even attempt to join there. He held on to his teleport the entire time. Knows that if he joins, Wei's just going to trample over him. So he's going for the gold play instead. And now we're going to see if there's actually any potential for a steal here. Void Seeker's the best you got here? Not even close.
It's not even in range before it goes down. This is rough. This is rough. This is kind of painful to watch, I'm not gonna lie. And the thing is, like, we talked about the strengths of RA earlier, and it was about having a clean early game so that they could snowball advantages from the lane in the mid game to a win later on. And things like Fofo's Azir were one of the key factors in that. It feels like the LeBlanc for Fofo is definitely a very different direction to what we saw from him earlier on the split with things like the Azir. And now Azir, I don't know, in my mind, it's kind of falling out of the meta, right? And I wonder if that is really a huge issue for RA, because it feels like teams have figured out how to play around this Azir. They've figured out how to play quickly enough that the Azir is a non-factor.
I wouldn't say Azir is out completely, but it just isn't a good answer to what RNG are trying to do. My sense is that Azir is probably still top priority, given the control mages between Orianna and Victor. I definitely take the Azir over either of those. But, you know, they were trying for a different tact this time, and Fofo has actually shown really good progress on the Zoe. I think that's probably his best early game champion. It's not really an Assassin's meta right here, and we can talk about Fofo a little bit later. Before we see how they complete this last stand, I just want to see Hung finally be able to pick off the back line, get a good body slam. That was not it.
That was not picking off the backline right there. It just scatters him to the wind. And Hung instead will be picked off himself. Actually gets himself out alive, but the health bars are still full from RNG. They're literally diving the Nexus towers, and nobody's even taken damage yet. Easy kill for Crying there. Might even kill iPoint on the fountain with the Chaos Storm. Fofo goes back in to try and do a little bit of absolutely anything here as the death ray is in. And that death ray spells doom for RA. 2-0 for RNG as they guarantee themselves top 2 in this split of the LPL.
Huge win for RNG. They still have one more to go, but that means they have made a massive lead. At least 8 places higher than they finished in 2020 summer. And once again, no one has been able to crack their strategy when they're not on the red side. This is a very strong team that when we see, they basically have 2 ways to deal with the top lane. If you're going to play a weak side blind tank, then we're just going to take Tristana into you, we're going to take the Lucian into you, we're going to constantly camp your lane. If you're going to take something like a counter pick that is very brittle in the top side, something like a Jace, then we're just going to find you post level 6 with the Hecarim and run you down over and over again. I think this match, all you needed to know was just the highlight reel of Cube going back into the fountain. He started 2-1-1 and ended up with 9 deaths in the end.
Yeah, it was something pretty exceptional, honestly, from RNG, but also a little disappointing for RA when we consider how insanely far ahead they were off that first skirmish. Like, if you think all the way back to the start of that game, that 3v3 that happened just behind the red buff, it was so damn close, and RA inched it out. They actually played it beautifully when we talk about how they did it mechanically as well. Like, it was a really, really nice skirmish from them. But unfortunately, I mean, like, look, we watched the next few minutes of the game. Wei just ganked top lane over and over and over and over. It was like 6 ganks in a row, and it felt like RA just weren't clocking on to what was going on.
Yeah, his gank path was actually very standard as well. He was just straight blue side to top side full clear into gank onto top every time he had a chance. And you could tell Cube was really frustrated with what was happening. Because if you think about the 3v3, we had Lillian starting the game 2 levels over Wei. And Fofo had a massive advantage over Victor. You go into the lane, you're free trading onto Victor before he even has Death Ray upgrade. And you put 0 wards on the top side. That's the thing that kind of blew my mind. Like, sure, if Hecarim goes through a lane gank, you just kind of throw your hands up in the air. At least you made him take a very inefficient pathing towards the top side at the very least. But the fact that they just didn't try to ward for Cube is... It feels like to me it's just some sort of a tendency that this team has. This team typically puts Cube onto the weak side. They typically don't try to play around him. And RNG are just going to the bank against teams like that. We have seen so many games in this split where RNG, it doesn't even feel like the enemy team that doesn't take care of their top side is giving them any contest. And RNG should know it because they used to be that team.
Yeah, it felt like Cube was just left out to dry by the rest of his team there. And Lian as well. Like, Lian kept on having to be the one face checking, right? And every single time he went in, he just got blown up immediately. Shahu just about topping the damage chart. Again, I'm a little bit painful for Fofo this game. I feel like he was trying his damnedest to have an impact on the game. I will say, iBoy, I think gets the medal for most entertaining player of the game with the recall shenanigans. Like, he was desperately looking for the big play, the big banana play, if you will. But yeah, unfortunately couldn't find it.
Yeah, we will see Rare Atom. I think this is really important in terms of understanding their playoff matchups. I think what we should expect is Rare Atom will do better against sort of the slower teams, against the teams like WE that are more teamfight centric a little bit, or like the Sunings that like to farm up a little bit more. But against early aggro teams, especially teams that focus on topside, I do expect a lot of issues incoming. Teams like IG, I think, are going to be very difficult for them to handle just with their pacing and their focus on the shy. So the implications really here is where does Rare Atom want to draw their matchups, and which teams they're looking at in the playoffs to see, hey, we can get a bit of an advantage here.
Yeah, maybe just looking at trying to counter-strat your opponent as opposed to just playing for your own win condition, because I feel like, especially teams towards the top of the table, you can't really underestimate them like this. You can't do that, or you are going to lose the game. maybe against EDG that can work out a little better for them, because Rare Atom, we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago on the broadcast, but their final 2 series, we just saw them against RNG today. Their next series is going to be against EDG as well. Another really tough opponent, but a different style of team to RNG. So perhaps that could be a slightly more favorable matchup for them. But RNG, on the other hand, when we look at the schedule, I mentioned earlier, if they get one more win, they guarantee themselves the first seed. And their final opponent is going to be LGD. RNG are just rubbing their hands gleefully right now, but they need to be cautious because RA were on a win streak until they faced LGD. So maybe LGD can be the Kingslayers of the split and ruin the first seed opportunity for RNG.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive series because we still have a couple of teams that can actually catch up to RNG in the standings. So they can't treat LGD lightly. And from LGD's recent games, they've actually been playing quite well. I don't mean this as a jest, but eliminated LGD is the most dangerous LGD. That's always been the case for them. We see Kramer stepping up massively. Uniboy actually getting the Rookie of the Week on mid lane. Yeah. And I want to see how that one goes, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I think it'll be scrappy, but I will say I think it will be a 2-0. I think we'll have some chaotic early games, but I'm not sure if... maybe I'm just a doubter, you know? I don't want to cast doom on that series. I'll let the commentators of the day talk that one through, but yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one moving forward, and RNG definitely... I mean, they're 13-2 now. That is such an insane position in the standings. Only 2 losses, and even after... And as you rightly said earlier, there have been teams like JDG, like BLG, that have showed everyone in the LPL how to beat RNG. This is the way that you can play against RNG. This is the style that can defeat them. But the problem is, not every team in the LPL has a Zoom, you know?
That's
Zoom
true.
can dominate every top lane. Like, if you give him a counter pick, he's going to win lane real hard. Not every team has that same caliber of top laner, so maybe it's not as easy to rinse and repeat as you'd like to think.
It's definitely a stylistic thing. Coming into this matchup today, I was really hoping for Talia to come out for Lillian. I felt like that fit the build for jungle carry and also gank heavy top laner. But unfortunately, they didn't go for that one. They didn't really get the carry jungler whatsoever, and they didn't protect Cube well enough. So we are going to take a look at the MVP coming out for RNG. Yeah. I didn't get it from production, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be Wei again.
It's Wei. It's the way to go, I'm afraid, because 3-3 and 15, again, just a commanding performance. And I said it in the cast, I'll say it again. It feels like he just has a tremendous amount of fun when he's playing Hecarim. Like, he just charges around the map between lanes. Like, as you said, very telegraphed in the way that he was ganking top. Like, it was not unpredictable, just clearing through the jungle and going top over and over again. But then we saw him just sprinting down Iboy the bot side as well. Just feels like he was everywhere on the map.
I think the meta does favor Wei a little bit more now that the jungle farm experience has been nerfed on 11.4. So he's not really losing as much with this consistent train of ganking into the top lane. This game, post 20 minutes, is actually down by about 30 CS. Like, he just didn't care. He didn't really try to keep his own levels up. He was just farming up the enemy laners. And I think heavy gankers like Wei are going to find this meta a little bit more hospitable, as relatively speaking, ganking experience is much more valuable and you're losing less when the enemy jungler is just pure farming.
Yeah, it feels like players like Wei, and also picks like this Hecarim that do have such effective ganks can find a home. This was the beautiful play from Ming, where he goes into play distraction, disrupt everyone, and then Gala and Wei synchronize the Blade Caller and the Smite. It's so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it's even such a secure play as well, as they just kill the enemy jungler. Radam definitely didn't expect that one. You could see that they were trying to pull off and hold it for Wei to commit suicide charge, but didn't really happen. And that was another great play where Wei even flashes out the flash, forces out the flash from Fofo and still gets the kill with the Onslaught of Shadows. Absolutely terrific engages coming out from him.
Yeah, monstrous performance coming out from Wei and Xiaohu as well. Even after that early skirmish, I thought it was going to be a different story, but not happening today. Xiaohu still comes out on top in the top lane. We're going to go over to the stage, though. I'll kick it over to Wendy, as we'll have ourselves a winner's interview, I believe, with Xiaohu himself.
Hi everyone, welcome to the interview, and here we have Gala from RNG with us. So congratulations on very clean 2-0 victory and facing very strong contender Rare Item. Are there any specific preparation before today's best of 3? 那首先恭喜你们今天很干净漂亮2-0拿下了这场比赛。那面对比较强劲的对手 RA， 有没有在赛前做哪些特别针对他们的准备呢？
就是研究一些他们擅长玩的英雄嘛，然后就看他们平常录像，就是打法什么的，然后就今天多做了一些，然后就研究挺多的。
So basically, we have studied a lot on their champion pool and their playstyle. We try to watch a lot of previous their games and try to study with their playstyle. So for this part, we really do a lot of studies and a lot of preparation before today's matchup. And let's move on to today's game. In game 2, the opponent's team, they have chosen the draft that can be quite strong in the early game, including the Jace and LeBlanc. So I'm very curious about what the early game strategy from you guys in facing against their draft. 那其实第2局的时候，对面选择的是一个整个前期其实进攻性也比较强的阵容嘛，就比如说有杰斯啊，有勒弗兰。那你们面对他们，你们前期的一个节奏是怎么样的呢？
就面对他们的2个英雄嘛，然后肯定是前期比较猛的，然后中后只要我们挡住他们前期的攻势，然后包到中期打团的话，我觉得我们就会赢，然后我们就尽量前期就好打好一点就会。
With Jace and LeBlanc, definitely the opponent's team, they are quite strong in the early game skirmishers. So we try to avoid some team fights and try to drag to the mid game because I believe in the mid to late game team fights, we can grab more leads. So we try to play quite well in the early game, and this is basically our game strategy for game 2. And also in the game 2, you have so many gorgeous team fights, and I really want to talk a bit more about the team fights around the first Baron because RNG, you guys have just stolen the first Baron, and the decision around the Baron pit have shown the flawless coordination from you guys. So what happened there? 那第2局其实我觉得你们有很多波就很漂亮的团战嘛。那其实，在面对对面想要打第1条大龙的时候，你们那一波也是不但是抢到了大龙，然后也是很完美的打赢了那一波的团战，然后感觉那一波配合特别好。就当时是发生了些什么？对内有什么样的沟通吗？
因为当时我们的中上死了嘛，然后对面肯定是也会打大龙的，然后当时我们就说让辅助去顶那个对面的打野嘛，然后我们2个负责抢龙，然后就我只能在上面放技能补伤害嘛，然后伟就去放惩戒。
At that time, because our top and the main laners were caught, and we already know the opponent's team, they were going to start the Baron. So we tried to, the support player, he tried to make the hard engagement, and the 2 of us would like to dealing a bunch of damage. So I just tried to use all my skill shots to have a bunch of damage, and also our jungle player, he tried to use the smite to have stolen the Baron, and luckily we're able to win that team fight. And also, we feel like in both game 1 and 2, you guys really play around the solo lanes and just leaving you to do all the farming by yourself on the lane. So do you feel like maybe play around the upper half of the map can easily win the game? 那其实感觉就今天这2局，他们都是整个你们在上半区，然后好像主要是围绕着2条单人线去打，然后就放你一个人就是在线上发育嘛。那你现在是不是觉得，会不会就是围绕整个上半区去打会比较好的打开局面，或者更容易赢下比赛呢？
因为下路是双人路嘛，因为下路就是有辅助会做视野，然后也会相当于很难抓一些，然后上路的话，其实一个人的话是很容易受到 gank 的，然后也比较好做事，然后就会偏向怼打上面一点。
because we feel in the bot lane we got 2 players, and also the support player from the opponent's team, he may do some divisions, so it can be harder for us to do the ganks around the bot lane. So I think that's the reason for us to play more around the top lane and try to grab some leads from the very early game. And also my next question is, for today's game, Xiaohu got 2 different marksmen, and also Xiaohu and Krayin, they have a lot of overlap in their champion pools. So with this level of flexibility, we really feel RNG's draft can be super unpredictable. So do you feel this meta's champion choices really fits into your ban pick strategy, and can we expect more flexible pick from RNG? 那我感觉今天小虎也是拿到了2个不同的射手英雄嘛，而且感觉你们上中的英雄值有很多重合的地方，就感觉现在 RNG 的 BP 特别的难以预料。然后那你会不会觉得就这个版本的一个英雄选择就好像很契合你们的整个的 BP 思路呢？然后我们会不会可以期待更多来自你们的一些摇摆的可能性？
就这个版本嘛，我们肯定 BP 会比较自由一点，就比如小炮这种。然后最近的话，我们就也训练赛中也有尝试别的英雄嘛，然后会希望能再练一些别的。
I feel like in the current meta, like the top Tristana, we have a huge room for our ban pick strategies, and also we have practiced some new champions and maybe new drops in our scrims. So I hope we can pick more flexible picks currently on the stage. And thank you for the sharing. Congratulations again. 那再次的恭喜你们 And back to you guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for Gala in that interview where Wendy's basically like, yeah, so you guys always play around top. That's gotta suck. And he's like, yeah, kinda. It's like the 80 carry life when your team plays around top lane. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty good at catching waves though, you know. Pretty good at the whole QWE combo.
I got my essence, Reaver. That's all I need. I think the key thing for me, though, is RNG's answer on basically saying that, hey, it's a lot easier to get ganks going because the support isn't warding for the top side, and that's just a higher return on investment for them, especially with Xiaohu and all their flexes.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense, and it's working wonders. Why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know? We're going to jump into a quick break. Don't go anywhere, though, because following the break, the V5 Miracle Run continues their playoff contention. Could end today if they lose against IG, or if they can make themselves a miracle win, they potentially could lock themselves playoffs. We'll have to find out after the break.
MSI 季中冠军赛
MSI God! MSI is back.
Dreamcatcher, yeah. Dreamcatcher.
哦，对上小东北的话，其实我想跟他说，就是我们下一场就是打得好好的，就是 希望我们打的就是有精彩的对决，因为我们现在两边都是成绩不好的情况下，我们很重要这一分嘛，所以就谁输谁赢都无所谓，但是希望我们打出很好的一些效果的比赛。对战对面中野的话，其实我们更看得重要的就是只在于我们的状态上，所以其实我们不需要什么准备去打他，就是应对他们嘛，所以我们打好自己的英雄，然后打好自己的该做的事情就行了。
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the most IG answers he could have given. Yeah, it's not really ever about our opponents. It's just, are we playing well? If so, we win everything. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. I'm Bunchables. I'm joined by Cloud. We're jumping into our second series of the day. And I have to say, I'm excited for this one. If Rookie is saying that in an interview, you know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that's the humble Rookie we saw, but I do want to contrast that with Mo's interview earlier in his previous series after he beat FPX. It was, you're going up against Rookie next. What do you have to say to him? And his answer was, Rookie, please don't kill me. So we can kind of see the difference in sort of the attitudes coming into this one. I feel like V5 is a lot more fearful coming up against IG.
I can't say I'm that surprised, let's be honest, based on the split so far. But let's quickly set the stakes before we jump into the game here. Because V5, their playoff dreams are still technically alive. It is possible for them to make it into playoffs. They need to win their remaining 2 series, and ideally in 2-0 fashion. Basically, what they have to do is try and tie up their scoreline with LNG. And if they can get through on game difference. On the other side of the board as well, I do just want to quickly mention while we're talking seeding, if IG win this series, regardless of game score, they will make it. They will lock themselves in for playoffs.
Yep, V5 can no longer catch up to IG because of game difference, and even though V5 still have a chance, we are putting this out as a bit of a long shot. LNG actually have to lose to Rogue Warriors in 0-2, so, you know, that's not really expected out of the matchup. We're going to see if the V5 comeback can happen today, because they did previously take down FBX, which was a huge surprise.
Yeah, that was really something, but you know what? I'm ready to see more of that. I'm ready to see Victory 5 just begin the win streak. Imagine if they made it to playoffs, right? Imagine if this is the way they make it to playoffs. They finish the split beating FPX and IG to lock their playoff spot and knock LNG out of the running. That would just be unbelievable. But let's quickly talk about the teams. I'm getting too far down the rabbit hole on seeding. Let's talk about Langshik, because this guy's back in the top lane. He had a phenomenal series against FPX. He was destroying Nuguri in the laning phase, and sure, he had a lot of jungle attention up towards the top side, but he was able to use that attention to find himself a huge lead and his team game wins.
Longsheng finally woke up, and I think they broke the trend of always focusing on the bot side. This time around, they always ganked for Longsheng. He was 5 kills to 0 against Nuguri in the early laning phase, and he continued that dominance later into the game. Good side engages, good Camille side lane split pushing, and really surprisingly, V5 actually still continued to play around him in the later phases of the game. We had a lot of criticism for Longsheng coming into this series because a lot of V5 losses were just off Longsheng just split pushing way too far in the side lane. This time around, even V5 doesn't really pull him back. They all show up in his lane at the same time to continue his advantages, and that's how V5 beat FPX.
Yeah, that's how they managed to make it happen. We've got some clips of exactly that, of Wei making these Hecarim ganks. There's something about players called Wei and Hecarim ganks repeatedly towards the top side today, isn't there? But Nuguri basically just didn't have a chance with how much pressure there was towards him.
Yeah, a lot of ganks going up into the top lane, and now that he's playing up against the Shy, this is one of the classical matchups that both junglers have to constantly go top. The Shy is playing a lot of things like Kalista, he's playing the Lucian, he's playing the Chase, so there are a lot of volatile matchups, and from what we've seen from FPX, if you do not match V5, they will just overrun you. This is not the same V5 that we saw earlier in the split or in 2020 that only ganked for bottom side. They had Wei constantly going down there. This, again, in the recent series, is another top side focused team.
Yeah, this is another top side focused team, and also like very snowbally team. If they do find themselves a small lead in that top side, they will run away with that and they will close the game out real quick. So Definitely a team that you can't afford to let get ahead. But one of the big things as well in this matchup, we saw them in the interviews. We've had them bantering back and forth. We got to look at this mid lane matchup. If Lyric was here, I'm sure he'd have some impassioned speech to give you about Mole. But I'm not going to lie, Clement, I'm definitely on the rookie side of this debate.
I just want to say, Lyric may constantly tell our audience that this is the ear of the Mole, but I do want to tell you, the ear of the Mole, technically, on the Zodiac, lasts all the way to 2022. So you still have a chance in summer, okay? That's I'm a little bit not sure about Spring Split as a split for them. We're going to be taking a look at the stats. Once again, Rookie, even though he had a bit of a lull in terms of the mid-season split, he's once again #1 in terms of CS score and GD score at 10 minutes into the game. He is outperforming all of his expectations, even though the game result ending might not show that. And the biggest thing about these two mid laners is their ability to go against the grain. They're not really your typical control mid laner matchups. A huge priority pick for both of them is the Zoe, and we have seen Rookie go into the Lucian in a lot of different games, while Mo has been trending on his own dark technologies with the Nico in his previous series against FBX. Do not expect your slow and boring mage farm fest in the mid lane.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if something like Nico makes it through the bans. That'll be the big thing, though. We've seen a lot of Nico bans recently, and we've got some clips of the two mid laners showing some style. And definitely the Lucian as well for Rookie looked really clean the other day when they were playing against TT. And sure, this is just Rookie smurfing on Twyla. Like, you expect Rookie to be able to beat Twyla in the mid lane, but there's definitely some great moments from him and showing off that his mechanics are still clean as ever. He's still able to make the plays happen.
I think Rookie is starting to play a lot crisper now that he has Shun with him. You know, mid jungle was never really a strong point of IG, but I think with this new jungler, we are seeing them just try to snowball a lot. And this is the Nico from Mo that we were talking about. They were able to get a lot of good teamfight engages off on their opponents. PP God had a great game, getting multiple quad stuns in the final game to take that back to a win as well. So we are looking at, you know, V5 kind of getting locked into the corner and making the fight for their life. This is their final stand. They have to take it or they will drop down in their expectations. This was a team that went into the second round in playoffs in 2020 summer. Now they are facing a situation where they might not get in at all.
Yeah, this is now or never for kind of for both teams, honestly, because if IG lose as well, like it's possible that they don't make it. It's possible that BLG knock them out of the running. But one thing I want to mention is we talked about the Zoe as a big pickup. We talked about the Syndra as a big pickup for both these mid laners, but actually the Lucian as well. Both of them playing it recently, looking really good on it as well. The Lucian flex pick in this series could be a huge priority for both teams, which I have to say, Lucian has not been a priority pick in the LPL for a while. We've seen it in solo lanes, but it's not been a priority, right? It's been a counter pick. It's possible that actually gets prioritized a little bit more than other series, but also things like the Twisted Fate, especially for Rookie, where you can influence the map very heavily, could be an option. So a lot of different directions they can go in terms of this mid lane matchup.
Yeah, and we do have to mention Weiwei and both Shun are known for playing a lot of AP junglers. Their most played are both Lilia, so AD mid laners are actually coming out as a premium for both of these teams. And they like to play early snowball aggressive team compositions. Both sides are you live fast or you die young sort of compositions.
Yeah.
V5 so far has not won a single game when they are behind at 15 minutes. So they want a speed run or they just kind of run out of gas. On the other hand, we have IG that has played 6 straight games that are under 30 minutes. Win or lose, this is going to be a fast series.
Honestly, you can see the players on the stage here, but part of me just desperately hopes that V5, win or lose, only win if they're ahead of 15, just so they made it the entire split with that 0% win rate when behind at 15. I just think that would be so poetic for how the split has gone for this team. To see V5 sitting down, they're obviously in their home arena here, so it feels good to see them stepping onto the stage. And then, of course, their opponents as well. IG will be joining them as it's Rookie versus Mole on the screen. You know that this is going to be a big matchup for the two players, but Lunching versus the Shy as well has to be one that we look towards. Lunxing having a really good recent performance, and it's important to give that context as well, that we're talking about Lunxing's recent great performance on things like the Camille and the Scion. He actually has not had that great of a split overall. If you include every series, and especially earlier in the split, the whole of V5 was having a really, really rough time. So it is very much a recent thing that we can have some hope for V5 and have some life in the top side.
Yeah, Lunxing for a long time, I think he strayed from his true path. His name means the way of the wolf, and he has strayed away from being a wolf for a long time. I think he's been hammered down and abused and left alone on the top side. He had this whole year on RNG where he's on weak side. He followed up coming into V5 as another top side weak side team. And I think it's been very recent when he's coming back into his roots and trying to play on the strong side on the map once more. That has been the biggest change, especially against the Nuguri matchup that we saw earlier that they played against FPX. And we have to remember that Lunxing in the past actually was, when he was still named Xiao Al, was this split-pushing top laner. He used to play a lot of Jax. It was a lot of Gnar. And in 2018, he actually had a couple of solo kills against the Shy as well. So we might see him go back to that strategy where they're willing to fight fire with fire. And the Shy actually has not had a very consistent split either. I think this is a split where we see IG sort of... They have dominating games, but they also have games where they just overextend on Heralds. They are not a team that I would consider as having great fight selection. I'm not even sure they know the word selection, honestly. It's like, fight. Oh, okay. Selection is kind of a new vocabulary for them. So they do take a lot of these teams where they shouldn't, and it's just kind of like anti-snowball against them. Either way, both of these teams are very early game focused, as we have mentioned, and the recent compositions from Invictus Gaming have been super early game. There's playing things like Rumble top, Lucian jungle, not Lucian jungle, Lucian in the mid lane, and Callista bots. So it's going to be fighting fire with fire.
All right, well, we're into the ban. We're into the draft anyway. So we'll see if they do fight fire with fire. Both Shadow Isles bans have made it through, though, as the Hecarim and the Thresh both locked in, with the Seraphine and the Zoe banned out from the mid laners. A couple of jungle bans there with the Lilia. And then the Lilia, you mentioned those AP junglers, and also the Callista banned away from both Puff and the Shy, as the Gnar is locked in for Lunxing in the top side.
Yep, Puff, the only AD carry in the league to have this most played on Callista. These guys do not play late game for the most part, but this time around we were seeing a bit of a slower draft come out from IG, going for the hyper carry duo in Aphelios and Thresh. This is what Puff was originally known on when he first arrived onto the squad, so they're going back to something they know quite well. In the meantime, B5 saving their counter pick for most likely mid lane. This is interesting. As we have pointed out, Mole versus a rookie is sort of that a bit of a one-sided matchup in terms of the stats, but Mole kind of is the early game engine for V5. If Mole doesn't have a good game, it's very difficult to see them get that 50-minute lead.
Yeah, it really is. We'll see if they can set him up with a counter pick in that mid lane, but it depends on what IG go for themselves in that first pickup. You would expect them to just go straight towards the top side, and then V5 will have to lock in an AD carry and a mid laner. But the thing is, Kai'Sa banned, Tristana banned as well, with the Callista ban, now a Lucian ban. Like, that's a lot of AD carry bans towards that bottom side. Things like the Xayah still available, though.
Bro, not much to really pick up at this point. Taking a look at the champion pools, Xayah and Samira are the second and third most played. Vayne has been a champion that recently we have seen players gravitate towards, but I don't think it's actually that strong. It gets pushed in quite a bit, so I don't expect that to be the final answer coming in. And it's going to be a more teamfight focused comp coming out for V5. Good engage, good frontlining, and also hyper carries here on the backside. Now Mole has to come out with something special in order to face this matchup, and they probably have to think about something that potentially would go up against the Renekton. Renekton top lane into Gnar is not exactly a great matchup for the Renekton, so there's always some sort of a low level of flex potential coming out.
Giggles across the board. Zillion is locked in, assumedly for Mole here. That is not a mid lane pick I was anticipating today. I guess they are all in on Trigger as the carry.
Trigger did have a pretty good game last time we saw him, being very well protected by the team, but I did not expect V5 to all in onto Trigger. So far, Trigger's stats indicates that he has a pretty subpar laning phase most of the time. He is left alone a lot with PP God trying to go on the roam, but later game he does fill out quite nicely as the hyper carry. So very unusual draft coming out from V5. A lot of focus on their AD carry and getting into the late game with a superior teamfight composition. While IG are going for a bit of a counter pick in the mid lane, going for that Sylas that I think will have a lot more impact on the rest of the map.
Yeah, I feel like with the Sylas into Zilean, you have way better skirmishing in the early game. You have way more, I guess, independence. You have way more, I can't think of the word, agency. That's the word. You have way more agency in the early game, but you also have the Zilean ult. You just take it off of him. And so you have the big advantage of the Zilean that you can set up your hyper carry and that Aphelios, but at the same time, you do way more individually as the mid lane threat. So definitely going to be some interesting matchups across the board. Interesting that they picked the Renekton into that Gnar for the top side as well, when we're talking about how pivotal that top lane matchup will be.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one. So usually the matchup works this way, is that you're going to have early game priority as the Renekton, just shoving the wave in, and maybe they are looking to get some top lane invades going. This 3v3 top between Renekton, Udyr, and Sylas, where they all have hard crowd control, is incredibly potent. So that top lane core roaming is what we should expect out of IG, and their bot lane also has priority early. Thresh is a bit of a lane counter against the Rel. See a lot of that draft in the LEC, so we should expect IG to come out with a very strong early game and try to take that into the jungle.
Yeah, and let's be honest, on both sides of the board for the bottom lane, it's a slow scaling kind of lane, right? Aphelios versus Jinx, you don't anticipate masses of aggression coming out from the bottom side. So we're looking towards the top side of the map. But V5, the concern I have with this composition, Clement, is that when you look at this with the Zilean mid, with the Jinx in the bottom lane, and a Gnar top, this feels like a late game comp, right? This feels like a scaling comp. V5 have a 0% win rate when they're behind at 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about it once or twice here at the LPL. This is not the kind of comp that is conducive to getting a lead at 15 minutes.
No, it is not. But when you have your backs against the wall, when your remaining schedule is as difficult as it is, you have to try something new. So I give V5 a lot of props for that one. But talking about the points that you've made, this composition also relies very heavily on the damage from Triggered. If Triggered doesn't have a good early game, he is going to be very far delayed, and the whole team will suffer. So I don't really understand. It's not really V5's style to put everything into their bot lane basket. Statistically, their bot lane is actually one of their weakest lanes. And maybe Trigger has just been doing very well in scrims for them to go this route.
I've just figured it out. Clement, it's dawned on me. You mentioned the interview that Mole had where he said, "Rookie, please don't kill me." He's like, I figured it out. I'll just play the champion that can't be killed. You can't kill Ian the Zilean, baby. He's figured it out.
Hey, let's go. I really hope that's what works out for him. I will say we have seen some interesting combos in other regions where you get the bomb onto Hecarim and you get the pony delivery system. That one is actually quite potent around level 9. The bombs really hurt, and you get the pushback for the stun as well. So it's a combo that on paper is very, very powerful, and it has a lot of backline penetration.
Yeah, and I mean, Puff could have a real hard time trying to survive that, because let's be honest, the rest of IG might not be playing to peel. Rookie with a nice little trade in the mid lane, and you can expect those kind of trades going to happen a lot here. I feel like Sylas is pretty favored in this matchup, but when the bombs line like that, Mole can certainly make some damage happen.
Yeah, we typically see Sylas just trying to scale out. His kill pressure really comes out around level 5. I think that's where he starts to hurt a lot. But he does have a lot of bursts in his lane. He is a later scaling champion, though. His HP doesn't really come up until the later phase of the game. And we're going to see the top level 4 gank, as is so common when you have this Renekton plus hard crowd control matchup against Gnar.
Longshing living the weak side top life right here. Shun gets away from the tower. The Shy gets first blood. I feel like we've seen this a lot today, Clement, of top laners just being straight up bullied.
Yeah, that's sort of the small advantage in Mole.
Oh my god, Rookie gets a solo kill! He just dives Mole in the mid lane and actually allows himself to be executed so Wei Wei can't get the bonus goal from the assist.
Oh, that was really smart from Rookie. Denies the 150 gold, and this lane state is actually terrible for Mole. Look at the wave. It's actually shoving into Rookie once more. So I like the idea here. He just hard chops and tries to find some way back into the matchup. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, typically this one should be slightly Aphelios Thresh favored. Let's see how they can play this out as we are pushing in, and we do have Udyr on the backside for the potential Dark Passage gank.
Yeah, potentially. Lung Xing could be in trouble. Again, W available here. Oh no, I think it's already been used in this trade. Lung Xing about to turn Mega though. He's only level 4, so won't have an ulti, but can certainly throw some damage out. Let's try and smash onto the Shy. Dodges the wallop. The Shy going back in. Wei Wei is in the lane, though. Slice and dice. Wei Wei under the tower. The Shy still has flash. That means he's going to be all right in this situation.
Also held onto his
TP. No, he's not. He stepped into the stun. What has he done?
In a straight
the
line.
Shy!
What?
You were fine. You'd made it out. What are you... Ah!
Oh... He must have known that wall-up cooldown was down. He saw it used earlier, and he just still stayed around for that minion wave, trying to deny it from bouncing back. That was ultimate greed coming out from the Shy, coming back to bite him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about the Shy. He is a man of his own kind. Why? Like, the wave hadn't even crashed yet. That was just to, like, make sure that he got the one melee that would have hit the tower first. Like, there was absolutely no need to go back in there. The Shy just continues to play disrespectfully, as always.
Yeah, but the general picture of the game is still as we expected. We should see a lot more shove potential on the top side. We're actually gonna get a pro view of this. Okay, this is pretty funny. I would actually want to see the pro view from the other side of the matchup, to be honest. But
yeah.
We're gonna get this one from Longxing. Misses the wallop, comes back in. That cooldown is very, very short, and it was just buffed recently, so maybe the Shy sort of under-expected that. And honestly, Longxing didn't even mean that. He just threw it out in a straight line, and the Shy
He was just clearing the wave, and the Shy was like, "Oh, you're throwing a wallop? I want some of that action." But Lung Xing is going to find out that he's getting a lot of action up towards this top side here. Rookie even has the Gnar ulti, but doesn't even need to use it. Doesn't have to waste that cooldown. Can use that elsewhere as the tower plate goes down. A ton of CS will be completely denied from Lung Xing. Doesn't have a TP available.
Mega Gnar
It's only gets worse for him.
That's not good for your health. I wouldn't try to contest this one. You could tell that Longxing has given up on any chances of survival there as he just stops moving and he accepts his fate to quickly get back into the recall. So I do want to see V5 try to at least enhance this bottom lane. Their top side, as we mentioned, just judging by the champion matchups, is not going to go well. So at the very least, they need to keep their soul hypercarry alive. This entire composition relies on chrono shifting the Jinx. And if your Jinx isn't worth chrono shifting in the first place, then what are you even doing?
Yeah, it's to the point where I almost think they should have started with a cull on Jinx or something just to try and turbo speed up that process. Lung Xing he's 2 levels down, man. Yeah, he doesn't get to play this top lane anymore. The Shy gets the stun down, and Lung Xing knows that there's not a whole lot he can do. The Shy does have Dominus available, but knows he can't actually overcommit to this play. Lung Xing would be able to kite him out, but no flash is available for either top laner right now.
Yeah, and we do have a movement speed advantage coming out from the Shy. He's sitting on boots 2 right now. So what we've constantly been seeing is the Shy just going in when Longxing is holding Mini Gnar. Just try to out-trade him there and let the wave push back when you are on Mega Gnar. Now, PP God is trying to help out his top laner, but they were spotted by multiple wards coming up here. There's no chance that the Shy dies. Now that I think about it, there is actually a chance. Wait a minute, there is a chance. I don't know if you
commit to that sentence. Yeah, there's always a chance that the Shy dies.
But he shouldn't die.
Find a way.
I'll rephrase. Sorry about that.
Yeah, let's not be hasty now. As IG, everybody moving up to the top side. Wei Wei and Lung Xing have been caught here. They're out of position, but Shy not actually going to commit to this one. It's Rookie that went forward and forces the onslaught Shadow. This should be now an easy herald for the side of IG. As obviously you can see, Trigger still open the bottom side. I want to see the Jinx rocket. Let's see the steal, mate. Come on, Trigger. He's not going to do it.
Come on, come on. That execute is actually massive for Jinx. It has no cap.
It's huge. It got buffed.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it got buffed.
On the first rank, it does 25% execution damage, and that applies to just like the legendary objectives as well. So it's always a bit of ways to not see that happen. And I do want to talk about the main decision right here. IG actually roamed their bot lane up, but they didn't swap. They're not trying to turbo feed their hyper carry. They're actually trying to get the Shy ahead as much as possible.
Well, it's working so far, because look at that scoreline. He's 30 CS up on the top side, and Rookie is diving Mole again. Dodges the second bomb, so won't get stunned up here. Still takes a lot of damage, but he has Silas, so he's able to heal a lot of that up with his W in a minute. As Shun knows he has prio mid, and has just found Weiwei. Weiwei just blast cones in and finds a bear on the other side of the dragon. He's going to be chased on down. The stun comes in. Lucas with the lantern to get himself the assist here. But with a flay, they should finish that one off. Q comes in from Puff there. That is a guaranteed dragon at very least for IG.
Yeah, that was Weiwei trying to go, haha, the least expected place is the least dangerous place. So he pops over the wall when his bot lane and mid lane doesn't have priority. And unfortunately,
it's Hobbit logic.
Shin is right there.
It's Hobbit logic, right? It's just like on Lord of the Rings. The closer you are to danger, the further you are from harm. That's how they get the Treants to go fight Isengard. It's Weiwei trying to inspire his team to take on the great evil that is IG. It didn't work out, though. He did actually just die, which the Hobbits did manage to survive the situation. But maybe Weiwei not a Hobbit after all, you know?
IG can still see you even after you have reached Mordor. That's kind of the lesson we've learned from this one. That was a very opportunistic gank, and we're going to see a full-on engage from Lucas and Puff with the Gravity. Doesn't find that one. Actually doesn't land the hook at all. And that's going to go wide with just the flash down.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky on that one, but it's flash for flash support for AD carry, so I think you're happy to take that one if you're Lucas, to be honest. As Weiwei clears away this vision, but Shun's like, no. This isn't your jungle anymore. This is my jungle now. Does get the smite, takes the chicken away. But hey, Weiwei gets a level from Mole, so it doesn't matter that he was behind in jungle XP. Hey, Zillion's actually kind of smurf.
I'm in a bottle. That's, I feel like Zillion has actually gone up in value with the jungle nerfs. We have seen him across other regions. Just very difficult to win out the mid lane is still the major problem. Longshi might be going in with the Mega Gnar here. He doesn't actually have it, but doesn't even go for the hop either. I could have found a good trade there.
I thought he was going to go for the all-in, but I guess with Lucas missing on the map as well, it did have to be careful. He's trying to finish these off, but the Shy could look for the all-in here. The jump manages to get launching away. I think he can get out of this one because he's got Weiwei covering his back, and it's just going to be the blue buff taken, and Shun is just stepping into Weiwei's jungle every 2 seconds. Still has the level advantage, gets the smite, and Weiwei once again losing a camp. Look at the jungle diff right now. 30 CS and 2 kills. It's a really, really rough situation for Weiwei, and Shun wants a little bit more of an advantage as he's chasing on towards PP God with Rookie at his side alongside Lucas as well. Just feels like IG are really brute forcing this lead. It's up to 3,000 gold right now, and I don't think it's slowed down anytime soon. Here we go, Rookie under the tower as he goes on to Mole. Lantern to get him out to safety, just threatening the 3v3.
Yep, half HP taken away from Mole. No contest whatsoever. They're going to head straight into the bot lane with this one. And you can see instantly Trigger has to run away. Longsheng does have the Mega Gnar this time, but there's nothing much he can do with the entire river being covered by IG vision. Now we have the TPs coming in. At least they're going to save Trigger as the AD carry and allow him to farm a little bit more, but Lucas coming in.
Yeah, stun comes in. Lucas over the wall, pulls the rest of the team in. Moonlight Vigil comes across, but it's actually going okay for V5 as Weiwei gets the answer, but he'll be chased down. IG just stack up as a 4-man group and just kill anyone that comes nearby. It's going to be 1-for-1 so far, but the tower dive can come through. Shun and Rookie are ready to dive. Puff is there for the follow-up. Shun heads off the minion wave, but Trigger is able to do a lot of work to deny its entry back in. A lot of damage onto Puff. That's the pick. Flashes away, though. Keeps himself alive. Rookie with a good bit of damage to answer. I don't think IG can dive anymore.
Yeah, they don't have the hijack anymore from Rookie, and he missed the Everfrost onto Trigger. Wasn't able to get the stun down. Now Shun might be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, there's a stun onto Shun, but he does have the Dark Passage, so he's going to be fine on this one. Maybe could have been warded, but nobody had any wards available. You can see all the yellow trinkets were on cooldown, so the Dark Passage gets him out of there. Easy peasy for IG.
That was a very close play to being absolute disaster from V5. If they lose this bot lane tower, there's absolutely nowhere for Jinx to farm up anymore. Taking a look at the fight itself, a pretty good crowd control coming out from Lucas, just getting everyone stunned up. On the meantime, Chrono Shift able to keep V5 alive for a while longer, so they actually got through most of the burst damage that IG could throw in their initial combo.
Well, Clement, there's a very important fact that I've got to drop on you. A bit of a knowledge bomb here.
In 10 seconds?
In 10 seconds time, we're going to hit the 15-minute mark, and right now, IG are ahead. Almost 6,000 gold, which is real rough for V5. But importantly, V5, I'm going to say it again, have a 0% win rate when they are behind at the 15-minute mark, this time running a scaling composition. Can they change that fact? This game will decide it.
You believe in PP God? It's kind of the answer at this point. Like, I feel we have to have some sort of crazy comeback on the scale that they had with FPX. PP God was really the man leading the charge in that series. He was finding them out of position and getting 4-man magnet storms. That's kind of how they got back. Even though they were winning at 15 minutes, that was the difference though. But they were losing the big game team fights. Once again, V5 do have a very strong just wombo combo in their front line, and I think that's what they're going to have to utilize, especially on the next dragon. We already have this dragon stacking for IG. It's pretty damn fast. It's going to come up around 23 minutes for the completed soul. It will be a mountain, and we're going to have to see them pull off the miracle wombo combo there. We have seen Trigger actually do it very, very well with the fish bones into the magnetic storm. That's actually a really nice combo because everyone gets grouped up and you can get multiple procs of the AoE on the entire team, but it has to work out perfectly.
Yeah. And I think an important thing is once Trigger has 2 items, that's when that really comes online. He can go for that Hurricane second item. You get multiple Fishbones rockets across the team with your big ulti going in and exploding as well. You can even drop Flame Chompers in there and just root people up because it can hit multiple people. The Shy finding a good amount of damage on launching there, but it's a little while away before V5 can actually pull these kind of big combos off, and they're 5,000 gold down. So I think it's important to address the fact that that feels like a long way away. Those kind of plays feel like a way off yet.
It definitely feels like a way off, but they have to make it happen soon, which is their problem right now. Longxi gonna go in with Weiwei.
Yeah, they're onto the Shy. He's pretty tanky though, and they've done pretty much no damage to him. He's just still going forwards on this one, and it'll be Weiwei that goes down instead of him. Trigger ults in, but it does nada. And now IG find themselves 2 more kills. They can look towards the mid lane. Trigger's kind of alone here, but they want to go for Mole instead as they go towards the top side of the map. The Shy has tanked so much damage across this fight, but it just doesn't matter.
He is too damn tanky, sitting at over the mythic item at this point. And this is the problem with V5's draft. They don't really have a single lane with priority. Magnustor going to come in from Rookie.
Yeah, I mean, PP God eradicated before I could even say anything. This tower will go down. IG are just completely in control of everything here. They're just roaming around the map as a death squad. 8,000 gold lead as we head towards the 18-minute mark. This is rapidly falling out of control of V5.
Yeah, I think V5, they went for an unorthodox draft sequence. Typically, you do see the AD carry drafted a little bit earlier. They went for Blind Gnar early. And on the red side, IG got counterpick for a lot of different lanes. Like, they had their pick of the litter in terms of top lane, in terms of the mid lane matchup, and they were able to draft like a triple priority composition. We're gonna watch as V5 and Weiwei try to take down the Shy, but the damage difference is massive, and Mole doesn't really provide that much. honestly, Zilean is a champion that spikes at level 9, and if you don't do much with his double bomb combo then, you're not going to do much later on.
And the thing is, like, you can see the logic on the Zilean pick, right? Alongside Hecarim especially, your E actually gives him a lot of damage. The Hecarim converts movement speed to damage, so there is value there, and you mentioned the double bomb, like, delivery system in that Hecarim as well, so you can understand the value. Also with Jinx as a hyper carry, but the problem is it feels like it takes a long time for you to get to the point where that's a real win condition for you. Trying to contest on the side. It is V5 to grab themselves a tower off the back of that Herald, but Rookie wants to punish them for it. You don't get anything for free in this game, V5. Wei running into the jungle. PP got the one to face check. Just going to take a bit of a hit. Rookie would have loved for it to be a squishier target. Maybe Trigger, maybe Maul. Doesn't find the opportunity just yet. Drake up in a minute, though. And you have to assume that goes the way of IG.
There's absolutely no vision for V5 to even come close to this one. Their only out is pretty much just the Jinx steal. They can't even get close at this point. There's no wave with enough shove.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, Langxing, you poor soul. Langxing, the king of the weak side here, is 1-4 now. It's just like old RNG days, where he's just completely abandoned on the weak side of the map, and everyone just watches him die over and over again.
And you can tell the rest of the lanes are so far behind. Only the top side has even made it into River, and they still have trouble rotating down for this bottom lane. Oof, this is really rough. We have to have Mold use that combo. They have to just go in.
They've got to try and make it happen soon. But again, Trigger's still not at 2 items. We're 20 minutes in, and he hasn't finished his second item just yet. Really rough situation for him. And I love how this Drake has been up for like 15-20 seconds at this point. IG are in no rush to take this Drake. They're like, if we can get more, we will get more. Looking for potentially the in-hit play, then looking for kills in the jungle on the way back. They're like, if there's a pick to be had, we're going to have it.
True. And when there's an open inhibitor like that, why not just push it down a little bit more?
Yeah.
They had such a large tempo lead on the map. It doesn't even matter. And V5 are going for an interesting strategy here, trying to get a potential pick if someone goes and checks on the Baron pit. But Shun is going to take the safe route. He's not even going to go underneath the ramp. And I like this play from IG, not losing a beat on the map, just doing a solo Drake take and keeping eyes on the Baron in the meantime at the same exact moment. So V5 don't get anyone to bite from IG. They don't get the jump on them. IG are going to come back with numbers onto the top side.
Shun is in Weiwei's jungle once again. Weiwei has had 2 time in a bottle levels at this point in the game, and he's still a level down on the opponent jungler. That is, it's not a great stat to be thrown at you, but you know what? It is what it is, mate. He's 30 CS down. I can't even find the Udyr right now. He's 404, but I just don't know where he is. Down the mid lane we go for IG. Opportunity to siege. They've got the Calibrim for Puff, so he can sit there and blast away at the tower all day. He can even drop the turrets with the Crescendum. But V5, this is one of the advantages of Zilean as well. You do have insane wave play.
Very hard to actually get over him, and I think V5 should use the opportunities when they have Langxing in Mega Gnar and with Teleport to sort of find a pick here. They do have the pings going down, hopefully looking for a back ward, and I love what the Shy is doing. Just going in, making sure no TP can be made, and they fight from the front.
Yeah, they just kick V5 out of this play. Really nice little combo there from Rookie, where goes to the Everfrost into his Chain Lash to guarantee that he gets the damage out. The Shy looking for a solo kill onto Langxing, 1 auto away. Can't quite make it happen, but it's good enough. Now the TP up to the rest of the team. Rookie is in the middle of everyone, has the Zhonyas, and PP got pulled back into the fray. Nobody escapes the clutches of IG as the Shy jumps into the middle of everyone. The Chrono Shift will keep him alive for now, but Mole, in fact his Trigger, will fall. A second, a third, a fourth kill go in the way of IG as they look to wipe the entire squad. This is going to be a clean ace as Langxing can do nothing about it. IG are ripping V5 apart at the seams.
Oh, complete ace. Very nice turnaround from Rookie. He goes in very far ahead of the team, but he stays alive because he does have that stasis on demand. Is able to wait until the rest of the team follows them up. And we could see, even with the Chrono Shift, if you don't have the front line to create that safe zone for Jinx, it doesn't really matter. Trigger wakes up and finds himself amongst 4 members. He doesn't even have the ultimate to steal this one. There will be no potential for V5 to take this one away.
And honestly, with a Baron, with how strong the side lane threat already was in favor of IG, with a bottom lane inhib already taken. Oh, wait. Finally gets himself a camp. Yeah, it feels like with Baron, this is going to be basically impossible for V5. But here's the thing. We've seen Trigger has finished his Zeal item. Didn't go for the Hurricane in the end. Went for a Phantom Dancer, but fair enough. Phantom Dancer is a very strong item right now. I'm not going to criticize that too much. Maybe if they can just group up, if they can get IG to group up, maybe they can.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at the turn around engage here. Just the really nice death sentence onto the PP God, and Shun doing a great job keeping himself away in front of the fleeing members of V5, making sure they're all stunned up. Jinx has nowhere to go even after the Chrono Shift. The Shy's just too fed, and Puff even flashes forward to find the extra kill for the ace. IG just with total dominance, and Shun just being such a nuisance on this Udyr hero. A really nice job on him from start to finish to just make sure that top side was completely IG territory throughout this game.
Oh, Trigger's been caught out here. He does have some teammates to back him up, so he'll be okay. But again, the Shy with supers and Baron buff can put so much pressure on the bottom side of the map that the rest of the team for IG now can set up in every single lane and start to close this one out with 25 minutes on the clock. It's 3 Drakes in favor of IG. Next one up in just under a minute as the Shy goes in 1v4. Has a lantern, but doesn't even need it because Shun is alongside him, and he's quite happy to go for the play. He will be locked up with the Frost. The stun could come through from Mole as well, but he's still over half HP, and it's Wayway that goes out instead. Oh, there's just nothing V5 can do. The Shy and Shun are just so damn tanky. Rookie going in. Everfrost goes wide, though, so they can't follow up on it. Moonlight Vigil as well. A little bit lackluster as the Shy goes in on the edge of the fountain, just threatening everyone. The Gnar ulti from Rookie pulls him away from safety and brings him off for the rip. 3-18 is the score as IG obliterate V5.
I love that we got both constants in this game to go correctly. IG, once again, finishing off the game in less than 30 minutes. Their 7th consecutive game finishing before the half-hour mark. And on the other hand, V5 staying true to themselves, not getting a single win when they're behind at 15 minutes. I do expect V5 to go for a much different draft coming into the next game. I do want to see them actually go for just counter picks across the board, have them heavily focus onto the top line, and we have seen the Shy actually crumble if he is put behind early. So maybe this is just side selection coming into V5's strategy, not really giving them an out as IG pretty much countered out all of their lanes, had triple prio throughout the game, was able to move wherever they wanted to. So next game, V5, please play to your strength, go for the early game, go for the weird picks, but at least make sure that they're early game dominant.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is I mean, we talked about it a lot during the game. I don't want to hammer too much on it, but the composition from V5 just felt so not V5. That sounds like I'm talking about fashion or something there, but like this was just a totally different style from V5 that we're not used to seeing. It really didn't work out, and especially against a team like IG. Like, this is a team that's going to punish you. If you pick a really, really slow composition, they're not afraid to tower dive. They're not afraid to push their advantages. They know when they have advantages and they will use them. I think the only way that we've seen IG really losing out in games this split is when it's other teams that are able to match up to them a little bit in the laning phase and able to match them in the skirmishes early on. That's when we've seen IG losing games. So it feels like this is kind of the opposite strategy to both what V5 are good at and what's good against IG. It doesn't seem to make sense to me.
The classical way to punish IG is they will go for triple counter lane whenever they see it, and that just goes against the crux of the number one rule in League of Legends. You don't try to play 2 sides of the map at the same time. And that's traditionally how teams try to punish them. You just make them overextend, you focus down one lane, and you snowball from there. But this time around, V5 showed their cards a little bit too early. It was a very slow draft. There was only one strong damage source on the entire team, and none of their lanes could get priority. So they don't break out for the mid game. I was waiting for the Pony Express delivery system, but they never even got to that point. Whenever we saw people grouped up, a lot of them were already maimed or dead. So they never got the counter engage, and IG just steamrolled them.
Yeah, I mean, it was the little skirmish we saw in the base where the whole of V5 were there. They try and go into Shun, and he takes like maybe half of his health before Wei dies to like 3 people from IG. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. At this point, there is no way. There's no... Like, Jinx is not coming online. This isn't a matter of waiting for Jinx to come online. Jinx is not coming online. That dream is dead long ago. And especially when there's Aphelios on the other team. Like, we never really talked about Aphelios because, let's be honest, it wasn't a significant part of the competition for IG because we never got to the late game. But if we ever went really bad, they had a late game insurance policy in that Aphelios. So, felt like everything was gravy for IG in game number 1. We're going to jump to a break. We'll be back with game number 2 to see if V5 can keep the playoff dreams alive right after this.
However, we're back into this. Rip Turtle Plunk Boss and Ming's fishing.
Oh, Jackie Love, you're in trouble, my friend. He's going to be going down. All the vegetable weight lenses gets the bus to drop the solar flare. Jackie Love gets out with his life. I don't know. This is one